Welcome everybody to the Super Joe Pardo Show. I'm Super Joe Pardo, and this is 6 years of my podcasting journey. It has been kind of a crazy time, to say the least. And this 6 years is a weird number. It's not, it's not 5, it's not 10, it's not 1, it's not. I mean, even 3. I don't know. 6 years is like a weird middle number. So I was thinking today. I was like, all right, I need to do something other than just to post on Facebook to say, hey, I've been podcasting for 6 years. How cool is that? And I figured I'd reach out to my good friend who I'm going to introduce here in a minute and bring on. And kind of to go along with that, to go along with the fact that podcasting for 6 years, I did recently just launch my own podcasting university. It's called Indie Pod University. It's scrolling down below. It's got over 100 plus hours of podcasting resource videos and more. You can go to indiepoduniversity.com, check it out, watch some free videos. If you like what you see and you want to learn more about podcasting, it's an opportunity to go and jump in and be a part of it. So it would be great if you have any questions. Obviously, you can always reach out to me, and I will do my best to get back to every single one of you. So I have the pleasure of introducing a friend of mine. He's become a friend over the last 6 months or so, a year. We talk quite a bit now, and that's kind of how this journey has gone. I would say constantly, things have been, great people have come to my life, and I'm so grateful for all of them and the experiences that I've gotten to have with them. It's been probably one of the most fulfilling things I've gotten to do with other people. So at this time, I want to introduce my friend who's going to come hang out and ask questions and all that kind of stuff. The Dave Jackson's watching. What is up, the Dave Jackson? Yes, it is my garage. I've drywalled the garage. It's going to become a studio as we get closer. I have lights and fans that are going to be going all the way down the garage area. So we've carpeted it, so it's carpeted. The walls no longer have insulation falling out of the studs. And it's coming together. I got to get some soundproofing, sound treatments, because it is quite echoey in here. I don't know if that's coming through on the mic. Dave, you've been there. You have been. Wait, you have been. Yeah, you've been to this garage. Yeah. Like, what am I talking about? Brent Basham, what's up, Brent? How you doing, man? Love the the Super Top Pardo show. Yes, Super Top Pardo is in the house. Andy. What's up, Andy? Congrats on 6 years. Wow, nice camera reviews. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to experiment a little bit with that as well. Dave and Bob. What's up, Bob? Oh, you got drywall finished. Yes, there's one wall over here that needs to be finished. I don't have an easy way of showing that at the moment. So there's one wall that needs to be finished, and once that is finished, I'm going to be putting up a barn door to cover. So I blew out the window that was over there and turned it into a barn, like a doorway. Actually, let me see if I can probably share this camera pretty quickly here. So the shuffle alley is down there, and if I grab this, so you can see, like, there's the doorway, and there's where we got to put the last piece of sheetrock after we get the lights, like the light switches and stuff, put in there. But yeah, I had to blow out like the concrete that's at the floor. Wow, this camera looks terrible. This is a C270. But yeah, so there's the shuffle alley downrange. Yeah, so it's oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's been awesome. Dave, have a great night, man. Thanks for popping in. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, so I gonna get back to introducing my guest co-host for tonight. If you want to jump in, and join the conversation. Go to superjoepardo.com/join. Pop in if you have a story you want to tell or something, just want to say hi or congratulations on video. That would be mighty awesome. I would definitely appreciate it. So at this time, let me introduce my co-host for tonight. He is Larry Roberts. What's up, Larry?
Oh, hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, oh, you didn't realize we were spying on you.
Just hanging in, and just a little pick on the teeth. So, what's going on, man?
Oh, just hanging out in the future studio. And your glasses, man, they're more reflective than mine.
You ever seen Flash Gordon movie? Bad. I feel like those guys in Flash Gordon that were operating the city or whatever, Flash Gordon is approaching. Anyway.
Oh man, that.
I thought they'd be.
I need some sunglasses. Hold on a second. So I've been accused of going Hollywood in the last couple of weeks here. So maybe I should complete the look. I can't really see anything now because these are polarized. So like this screen is like vibrating and I don't have my glasses on, so it's hard to really see. Oh my God, this is really
reminiscent of Miami Vice.
Difficult. Yeah. Oh wait, so I like. There we go. Isn't that what you're supposed to like rip them off?
That was smooth. That was smooth as butter, boy.
Yeah.
Pop them out, pop them on.
Yeah. Now I can't read the comments. Yeah. Very exotic too. Brent, come on in the chat, man. Come hang out for a little bit.
Come on, man. You can get in here.
Yeah. So I seriously can't see the screen. I want to minimize it. Okay, there we go. All right. So yeah. So this is 6 years, Larry. So wait, for anyone who doesn't know who you are, why don't you give a little background about yourself there?
Cool.
Mr. Larry Exotic.
My name is Larry Roberts, and I'm the host of the Readily Random podcast. I also own Readily Random Media. So, I'm a big time kind of guy, but Readily Random is my podcast. It's pretty much everything that I do right now. So it revolves around the podcast, and it gives me opportunities to meet folks like Brent Basham and Super Joe Pardo and Dave Jackson. Now, Bob, I don't think I've ever met you, but hey, Bob, how's it going, buddy? We're friends now. Andrew Wang, I see Andrew's out there. Wow, the whole crew is out there. So
it's Wong.
Oh, God.
I've been saying it wrong, too.
I said it wrong. I just sounded it out, man.
I know, because it's spelled W-A-N-G, but it's like wand. Like,
oh.
Yeah, I know. Eric Hunley is the one that informed me of my misdoing. But Andy's cool enough to not care. He's not worried about it.
Andy
cool.
Wong. Okay, well there you go. So I'll say right from now on.
Over these? Oh, I can. This is great. Now I got like reading glasses for my sunglasses, and I can actually see now. I'm liking it.
Yeah, that looks good too. You look kind of like an insect. Yeah, the insect host. I still love the yellows, man. It reminds me because kind of like and you're from Jersey, right? So
yeah.
Dice Clay and those guys, they wear the yellow glasses,
Yeah, I had a pair of glasses there.
Can do something
that were yellow tints for a while back in my motorcycle days.
Yeah, that's a little bit better, huh?
Let me see here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I do feel like an insect, but at least I can see. This is how great is this? Listen to a show, guys. Shake my head.
Oh yeah, listen to my show.
Not you, Siri. Yeah. So I'm sorry. All right. So finish your about Larry.
Oh yeah, about Larry. Well, I'm about 6'3", and I'm weighing in a little over 300 these days. I like long walks on the beach, chocolate covered strawberries, and the sound of rain pitter pattering on the rooftop. Oh, listen. No, seriously, I'm the host of the Readily Random podcast, and the opportunity to be here tonight is really great, and it's something that I definitely appreciate. With my podcast, the goal is to remind everybody that they can readily pursue being larger than life. So this is going to go downhill fast. I know he's
I know Brent is you're right. But I can see the screen because I got double glasses. I got double vision going on.
I can't see this. I had to take my brightness and turn it down, so I can barely see you now. So we're two
Oh
blind
wow.
dudes. We're two blind dudes doing a podcast. It's awesome.
Max, how do you handle this? I don't know what I'm doing. I help me out, Max. I just tagged him, so hopefully he can come and help us out here.
Come on, Max. Get in
Um,
here, man. Help us out, brother. Appreciate it.
yes,
Oh,
Max, come help us out. Uh, so
so
yeah, so
listen to
how
my
long
show.
you
It's
have
great.
you been how long you been podcasting for, Larry?
I've been podcasting overall for about 5 years, but Readily Random's only been around for about 2.5. So the first show was a little more irreverent, and in the following Dice Clay's patterns, it was a little dirty. So I had to kill it.
And so why? Why did you feel the need to have to censor yourself and kill it?
And it's interesting that you say that because I hate, and that was why I started podcasting, was so that I didn't have to censor myself. Because I mean, I like a good D joke, all the time. They don't get old. They never get old. I'm sorry, they just don't. And so, so
Let's keep it clean here because this is a
D.
clean show.
D. I was keeping it clean. I didn't say the other thing,
I
but
know, I know, I know.
I know I'm gonna keep it real clean. So, but anyways, I like telling jokes that are a little edgy, and once I had heard I started listening to Joe Rogan because being a fight fan and whatever, I had this guy at work that kept saying, you got to listen to the JRE, you got to listen to the JRE. And I'm like, no, podcasts are stupid. They're for nerds. Although, I played World of Warcraft for 15 years. I'm not listening to that.
The pot calling the kettle black there.
Yeah. So, but anyways, I listened, and then I heard some of Joe's comedian friends come on the show, and the things that they were saying were blowing my mind. I'm like, what? You could say that? You could tell those jokes on a podcast and not get in trouble? Oh, sign me up, brother. Where do I do it? How's it work? So I ran out and I bought a mic, and me and a buddy of mine, I had a co-host back in the day, and he's a comedian now, actually. Jamie Gravy's his name, and he's doing really, really well. He's on a couple of comedy DVDs. He's open for some named comedians that people would recognize, and he's doing a really good thing. But we took one listen to that first episode, and it was so bad and so filthy that we didn't even release it. It was too bad for even us. We're like, dude, there's no way we can let this filth, flarn, and filth out to the public. It's just not going to happen. So that one never saw the light of day, but I do have it. I still have it recorded. So every once in a while I go, oh, that was as bad as I remember. But the show evolved, and it ended up doing, I got to be honest, it did better than Readily Random does today. And it was just a ton of fun. But the level of offensiveness, now we weren't socially offensive. We never told any kind of racial jokes or any kind of what do you call the smaller community type jokes where we never bagged on anybody for real. Most of it was all like innuendos and stuff like that, but there was never any kind of really, really hardcore offensive stuff. But there were some people that I was starting to get some feedback from that had some influence in my life, and it wasn't positive. So in an effort to move forward, I said, you know what? I'm going to maintain these real relationships, and I'm going to kill this, and I'm going to come back with something clean. And Readily Random was reborn. So,
yeah. Well, I think that going in a cleaner way, I mean, it opens up you to so many more audiences. I think. Oh well, geez, thanks,
Red
Brett.
Allen, what's up, bud?
Brett Allen, giving the studs. What's up, Stephen Green? Saying I look suave in the shades. What the shades with the shade with the glasses on top. And I'm not sure. Larry 1 and 1 say it isn't so. I'm not. Am I missing that? Am I missing something?
I don't know. Did I say something 1-1?
I'm not sure. And Beatrice, what is up, Beatrice? Beatrice was one among one of my first guests on the show that I got connected with because of her journey in an incredible weight loss story. So yeah, I got a lot of love for Beatrice. I miss you. I really, 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 really wish I had gotten to see you when I was down there in March. It's a shame it worked out the way it did. But everything happens for a reason. So, but as soon as we get back down to Disney, I definitely want to go and see you. Brent says Readily Random is a great show, Larry. Well done on the rebirth. I agree. I agree. I
Appreciate
think
that. Thanks, guys.
Larry is 1 and done, not 1 and 1. And then 2 unemployed minor league players. Oh, is that what we are? We're minor league. So, I have prescription glasses, but I'd have to go out to my car to get them, and that's not going to happen right this
You
second.
too, and
So,
I'm going out in the garage. So got
yeah,
my
I mean, I could totally do it. It's just this is easier, but I can't actually see the comments. Love you too, Brett. Love you too. Glad we're so. If you don't know, Brett Allen runs the Open Mic podcast, and he is going to be running a podcasting conference. It's this week, this Saturday.
yeah,
This
this
Saturday, I
Saturday.
believe.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
So I'm speaking. Larry, you're speaking, right? I think. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah. So you should totally go and check that out. Brett, pop that in the chat where people can go and find out the links. I can barely see it at this point. So it would really help me out if you could get that. I mean that it's a good thing that he wasn't one and done with the dirty episode. Yeah.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We toned it back quite a bit, and we came back with more stuff. And honestly, the show again it evolved, and it got to where it was just a little more irreverent than it was offensive. I mean, we weren't as graphic as we were being initially, and we weren't pushing it for the sake of pushing it. You ever watch one of those shows, or like even a stand-up comedian, and you see them, it's like they're cussing just to cuss.
Yes.
And it's like
it's very bland and dry.
it's so terrible. And that's kind of how it felt. So we had to learn how to podcast for starters, B, get used to being in front of a mic because that wasn't something we'd ever done, and C, learn how to balance the content. And all three of those are challenges, in and amongst themselves. But then to take all three of those and capitalize, and stack them one on top of each other, you got yourself one heck of a mess. And that's what we had at first. But like I say, it came along and we turned that show into a live stage show. We took it to a club here in town in Dallas, turned it into a live stage show, which today, after killing the podcast, that live stage show turned into an open mic night. And today it is still one of the largest open mics in the DFW area.
Wow,
So, I
awesome.
do love that deal. That's still pretty cool to see those guys doing their thing at the show. That I might have had a little something in starting. So, but we took it to online radio. We used to do a show. There's a cool part of town. If you've ever been to Dallas, there's a place called Deep Ellum, and it's an area of Dallas it's where all the hip people are. Everybody that's kind of cool. They hang out in Deep Ellum.
Like me.
Yes, hip like you with your dual glasses. You fit right in. Honestly, you're right there. But yeah, we did that. And I mean, that show just took us all kinds of different places and gave us all kinds of different experiences. And it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. But, everything has a time, and the seasons turned and it was a time to pivot. So we took advantage of the opportunity and took that turn.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. See, I don't know what the F you're talking about without the curse.
Exactly.
Cussing, sorry. So yeah, well, that's why, I thought, it'd be good. It's be a great time. Oh, Podfeed is real. It is real. Talk to Tim and Kyle, and they will tell you all about pod fading and how not to do it. So yeah, so I just like, oh well, I'm talking with Larry tonight. Let's talk about podcasting, and let's talk about 6 years of podcasting and this crazy journey. So I thought maybe you could take over there, Larry.
Oh, okay. Well, let's just flip the script a little bit and let's ask you how you got started. What drove you to podcasting? What made you go, you know what? This is something that old Super Joe's got to throw on the cape for and jump out of the phone booth and just take over. So what drove that, man?
Well, for anybody who hasn't listened to any of the previous years or any of the countless interviews that I've done, basically I left my family's $100 million business at the age of 27, I think it was. Yeah, it was probably 27. and I wasn't sure what the heck I was going to do. I left. I didn't leave on good terms. It was not great. Ended in a fist fight with my dad. It
Nice.
was, yeah, right. Like we were talking about that stuff, kind of stuff before, right? Like it happens. And it wasn't great. It wasn't a great time. So a month later, I still didn't really know what I was going to do. I was on a plane to Disney World, and my friend Martin, who I was flying down with to run a 5K race with, was like, "Hey, have you heard of this show? It's like called Entrepreneur on Fire." And I was like, "Oh, the only podcasts I listened to were Disney podcasts. Mostly one Disney podcast, specifically WDW Today." And I was at the time I had just released my first DJ album called Adventuratorium, and so I was getting, it was a Disney music mashed up with like hip hop and rock instrumentals and stuff like that to tell the story of Pixar's Up. And we raised money for a charity, Give Kids the World, and it was great. It was a great time. And I was trying to get on all these different podcasts at the time because I wanted to promote it. And I'm like, oh, we're gonna, I reached out to like over 100 Disney podcasts and met some really good friends because of that, like including Al Kessel, who became the Mr. Voice of the Dreamers or what would eventually become the Dreamers podcast, and as well as Aaron. Was it Rit? What's his last name? Rit. He just posted today in the Indie Pod group. No, I can't. I'll try and find his name, but I can barely see it at the moment. So I apologize, Aaron, in advance. But I think I'm about to find it. It's right here. Aaron Ritmaster. Yeah, so Aaron Ripmaster had me on with the Diz Dads podcast, and we like raised money through doing some artwork with my brother-in-law. It was a great time. Like we, I did a bunch of interviews, got a bunch of reviews, positive, mostly almost all positive reviews for the album. It was great. The problem is it's illegal artwork, right? So it's hard to promote something that's illegal because people are like, oh, I don't want to share that, like it's illegal. And so yeah, so we're sitting on the plane. And I was like, oh wow, like, I mean, I could start a podcast. Like I've been I've been DJing for like 10 years. I been blogging since 96, building websites since like 96, 97. So like I have this background in all this tech that like all I had to do is just put it together, and people had told me prior to that, like, Joe, you should have a podcast. I'm like, well, I guess. They're like, you should talk about Disney, like you be Jersey Joe talking about Disney, and I'm like, I love Disney World, but like I don't think there's enough that I could talk. I don't live down there, so like how am I supposed to come up with enough topics to talk about? So I and that was in like 2010, 2011. I wish I had started then, because even though it would have been about Disney, I would have at least been like cutting my teeth, putting in the reps to get better at talking on the mic. And so I'm on this plane, and he's like, oh, you should like listen to this show, and truth be told, I didn't actually listen to the show Entrepreneur on Fire until about I think it was like a year later. I listened to one episode, because I don't like to taint my my creative like ideas and flow, and I don't want to sound like somebody else. I don't want to like necessarily be asking the same questions as everybody else. So like if I'm listening or watching something, it's either because I'm genuinely interested, or B, I'm looking to find out if what I'm already doing is like what somebody else is doing. So I was like, all right, so I started making a list. I had like 100 people on this list of like people I knew or people that I could interview. And I was like, well, I could do a show on business. Like I've been around business all my life. And then it turned out that I was like, but I know a lot more people living their dreams. And at the time, it was really helpful for me because like I still didn't know what the hell I was going to do with my life. I was unemployed and had a house, and fortunately no kids. But I really didn't know what I was going to do. So I made this list. I came up with the name, and when the plane landed, I registered the domain name, the Facebook page, and the Twitter handle before we got to the rental car. And then I reached out to my boy Al Kessel, who has the Storyteller Productions, I believe his name of his company is. He's a voiceover a voiceover pro who at the time was like, he was not just getting started, but he was still in the beginning stage, like compared to where he is now, 6 years later, he was definitely in the beginning stages of his pro voice career. So yeah, so he him and I had like a 20-minute call on a Skype call, and he gave me the pointers that I needed to get, like, okay, what's the WordPress plugin I need, and all that, because I already knew how to do WordPress. Like, that was no big deal to me. So I just needed a couple of pointers there, and we did like a 20-minute call. He agreed to be my Mr. Voice, do the intros and outros of the show, recorded those. He was my first episode. Speaking of which, first episode, I wanted it to be my boy BJ, William Stallwood of Cypher Prime. We go way back now, but if I waited for him to be on the show, I'd still be waiting to start my show 6 years later. BJ, where the heck you been, boy? Like, I mean, I've seen him a handful of times since then, because he lives in the city. He lives in Philly, and I don't get to see him all, especially since having kids. It's kind of rough getting over to see him, but yeah, I'd still be waiting to just launch my podcast if he was going to be my first episode. I want to bring in Eric Patrick Thomas in the house, who was also on the show previous. What's up, Eric? How you doing tonight?
What's happening? How you doing?
What's up, man?
I'm good. I'm double
How are you?
blasting up. This is Larry Roberts down here in the corner.
How's it going, Larry?
All right, man. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Thanks. Happy 6 years, man.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. For anyone who doesn't know, Eric was on the show. I don't remember which episode number it was, but I'm gonna attempt to look it up with my double glasses here.
115, maybe. I don't know. I know it was something up there.
See, Eric remembers. It's sad that Joe doesn't remember his guest. I apologize, Eric.
Specific number? Come on now.
He usually does better than that, so I'm going to apologize.
Get the heck out of here. That's not even fair. That's not fair. 231. You weren't even close.
Oh, wow. It's way off.
You weren't even close.
Wow.
It's only halfway there.
Yeah, I was close. I was like half.
Halfway.
3.5 hour podcast.
Yes. Yeah. It was a very long podcast, but a very enjoyable podcast at that. Back in 2016, this was like forever. It was forever ago at this point.
You remember the technical difficulties we had when we first tried? Remember, we were scheduled to do it, and then we tried, and then my mic wasn't where something wasn't working, and it wasn't working, and we were like, we got to get this right. Like, nothing was working right, so we rescheduled.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, okay, I am remembering that we rescheduled. It was also right after my second anniversary wrap up, because it came out, I think, on June. Well, it came out May 24th. It looks like, so it would have been right. Yeah, so we did like a wrap up of the previous. I can throw the episode up here if I can see.
It was called the Dreamers Podcast, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah. So at the time, it was called the Dreamers Podcast. Like, so that it actually wasn't too long before I changed. So I think like shortly after this your episode, I changed it to Business with Super Joe Pardo to try to class up the joint a little bit. And up the level. But it was the same show. The show didn't change so much as I just wanted it to be, maybe geared towards the specific demographic a little bit more. And I ran with that for 2 years, up until late last year. So it probably was 2017 I changed it. 2017 to 2019. And then I changed it back to Dreamers Podcast. And then it came. Now it's the Super Joe Pardo Show, because it just makes more sense from everything else is branded that way. So and it is about.
Yeah, I mean, the more you do it, the better you polish your craft, and you keep learning. Plus, you had you started meeting more podcasters. You just started building this group, this international group of podcasters, and when you start watching other podcasters and you guys communicate with each other, you just get better and better. You know, I mean, like, look how far you've came from where you were then. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, look at, and then you
Well,
got
thank
this on a Saturday, you have what, 6 hours of podcast fest? I mean,
you.
and they're really good guests though. And they all, I mean, they, you know, it's hard to watch
Larry's
six
one of
hours
them.
sometimes, but I definitely watched a good amount. And each one that's, you know, been up there and talked, I'm like, oh, I got to find their Facebook now and find out their backstory, and I got to go follow them because, you know, they all have interesting, you know, stories or, you know, call of action and things like that.
Oh,
You know,
definitely.
one day
Definitely.
I'll have to jump in on one, but
Yeah,
it's,
yeah. Well, we're doing one May 30th. You know, we're talking about video, podcasting to video, May 30th. It's actually right here on this right hand side. Podcasting to
podcasting the
video.
video.
Yeah, so it's all about, like, you know, getting video, kind of like what we're doing now, where it's live streaming and incorporating things of video into your podcast fold. Um, you know, and that's one of the things, like, so I want to bring up, like, it was in 2015. I created a site called Your Dream Platform, which probably only a handful of people even know about. know about. Because the idea was I was going to create my own platform to help people develop their own platform from a technical standpoint and emotional standpoint and all that. Like, you know, package it all up and be like, here you go. Here's everything you need to, like, start a blog or start a podcast, start a video series, vlog, or any of that stuff. And you know, to me, like, it was too early for me to do that. I didn't have a big pool of content creators, people that wanted to do that at the time. So for me, it was like, okay, so I did this thing, and what I realize now is, like, it helped speed up the process of me creating the Indie Pod University, because I used the same exact plugins, the same exact knowledge, the same exact everything, and just applied it to this new site where I have a built-in audience now of literally thousands of people that I didn't have before back then. So I love to build things and tinker, and sometimes you build and tinker before you're ready, but that's research and development, right? In fact, there was a great story about why we don't have Zenith TVs anymore and RCA TVs anymore. It's because they had to license the technology to Japanese companies because of the Japanese laws, and the Japanese companies were like, we can make this better, and of course America was like, what we got's good enough. And guess what happened? Sony and the other Japanese companies, they innovated on the technology that they licensed and then went back and sold it to Americans. And then, of course, American companies were like, we'll just sue you. And guess what? They didn't work out. And then Zenith exists, but and RCA exists, but they're not what they were. And they're they're literally just brand names at this point. They're not brand companies. So yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, you got to be willing to put the time in for research and development, just like you, Larry, with your, figuring out, like, hey, if I do this really dirty show, at the very least, I'm putting in the reps. I'm getting it done.
Yeah, it definitely helped. It definitely, like I said, I mean, as far as downloads go, that show outperformed Readily Random, in all honesty. It was, and I don't know if it was just because it was more of a natural extension of my personality. Because, I mean, again, the whole being able to tell dirty jokes on a podcast and not get in trouble, that not getting in trouble part was the most appealing, right? Because I'm always getting scolded for my mouth. And I'm not going to get scolded if I'm doing this on a podcast and people are choosing to listen, right? Mm-hmm. But it's once it reached a certain level of popularity, people would get wind of it that were taking offense. I wasn't podcasting full time. I don't podcast full time now. And I got a new manager who was a little more straight laced than the previous manager, and he didn't like what he was hearing. And he said that, it was a representation of our company, and he couldn't tell me to quit, but he sure didn't like it. And since he was a new guy and he kind of had my financial future in his hands, I thought, well, that's going to be in my best interest if we keep this relationship cordial. So, it led me to make that decision. That's one of many factors, but other people are like, dude, don't let him tell you that. Don't let him make you stop. It's your show. You forget him. You don't have to worry about what he says. But, it is what it is. But it led me to Readily Random. And the show now is much more emotionally rewarding. And I think it's a much bigger contribution to society than just one, another guy or another couple of guys telling jokes in their mom's basement, even though it was in my house, but still might as well have been in mom's basement. It was that level of material, So everything happens, and this is so cliche, but everything happens for a reason. I mean, one door closes, another door opens, and that door closed, and this door opened. And man, I can guarantee you that if I had continued down that path, I wouldn't be here right now talking to Super Joe Pardo and Eric Patrick Thomas, Mr. Inspire himself. I can guarantee that. So, this has a significant upside to it. I've met so many great people that I don't believe I would have met had I stayed going down that path. Would I have still gone to Podcast Movement and Podfest? I can tell you right now, unequivocally, no. Because when I first started podcasting, Podcast Movement was in Fort Worth that year. And literally where they were having Podcast Movements about 25 minutes from my house. And I was just like, I don't need these nerds to tell me how to do this. I got this. All I'm doing is talking into a microphone. I don't need those guys. So I skipped it. And, I regretted it ever since. And didn't have another opportunity until last year. And hopefully that we'll still have Podcast Movement here in Dallas this year, but I don't know that we will. I'm not confident that we will. I'll tell you that much. I don't expect it to happen. But again, it would have been a totally different outcome, and who knows? Who knows where it would have been. But I know I'm appreciative of where I'm at now and the people that I've met now, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm starting to tear up a little bit.
Oh man! Well,
can I?
Go ahead, Eric.
I'm just kidding. No, I'm no. Seriously though, it's interesting to see. You let go of something that you think is your core. Your core, honestly, and how you really want to do things, and then another door opens up, and you walk through, and you go, "Wow, the grass is actually greener this time." And it works out.
Yeah, I understand that. From elementary, I think around 4th or 5th grade, when the Beastie Boys came out, I started doing hip hop music, and I wanted to be. And I'm still doing hip hop music now, but it's not like in the realm that I was before. But I had a group from middle school, high school. I was always working with someone in the studio. And then even when I was out of high school and tried to go to college for photography, my group, we had an album release party, and the night that was supposed to be the celebration of my album release party ended up being a life-changing thing after someone shot me in the neck, and then I got paralyzed from the neck down. My whole life and world was just rocked. But I didn't know, like, later on that I would be performing on stage again, just to a different audience. And usually, like, what I mean is that I'm now, like, they have me speaking wherever in front of, people, and it's usually telling my story of what happened, talking about advocacy or resilience and helping people with disabilities. It's a total, like you said, more rewarding. Like the people that I go and speak to now, like I'm helping their quality of life, like the things that I'm bringing to the table, like whether it's resources or my experience or something that I'm speaking on, their life is going to change. And we're not talking like life changing, like where they're, getting material goods or something. We're talking like life changing where they're able to like improve the quality of life, where they're like happier and not happier by like buying things. We're talking like because they're able to go to this restaurant now or in their community because it's more accessible, or be able to ride transportation, or be able to feel visible, not feel like an invisible person. Because a lot of people, a lot of people with disabilities, and I'm just speaking on that, it just seems like everything is made or talked about, whether it's policies or buildings or rules or voting. It's like, hey, we're here. Like I'm not invisible, you know, especially when you have a visible disability, you know, you're using a wheelchair. I mean, it's not hard to miss. But here you just get bypassed, and it's like, so you bring them and you empower them, and you say, look, man, we just got to bind together, and then they also connect with you, and they think, wow, I thought that issue with not having a caregiver show up was only my fault, or it was my issue. I didn't realize that it was like hundreds and hundreds of other people had those same issues. I'm not alone. Maybe it wasn't. You know, they start thinking it's their fault, or something that they did, why someone didn't show up to take care of them, or why something wasn't this, you know, and they start relating with each other, and they start, you know, getting on the same page, and it just it changes things. So I mean, you just never know. Like you said, one door closes and another one opens, but you know, like at the time you might be real frustrated, like, why did that happen? And then you'll be like, whoa, I'm so glad, like that's like, look at how much better everything is because that happened. You know, I mean, like, unfortunately, yeah, I mean, getting shot and not being able to move is challenging, you know, and you have your ups and downs. But there's so much I've accomplished, and so many people have gotten help from it happening. Like, I know some people don't have, like, you don't want to be that person. But man, like the people that I have been around, the lives that have changed that I've been able to personally help, man, I mean, like, what's better than helping a person's life? You know, I mean, helping the quality of life of a person. So it's like, you know, I've had that question before, like, well, if you could go back in the future, what would you do? Would you change anything? I'd be like, no, I'll go right back out in the parking lot and get shot. Because there's so much, like, so many things that people's lives have been affected by that happening in a positive manner, in a really, really good manner. So
So that's so powerful what you just said, and
Yeah.
it's to say that you would do it all over again, that you would go right back out there and get shot because now you know the impact that sure it's going to have on you, but you know the impact that it's going to have on others, and that is probably one of the most selfless things I've ever heard said firsthand. Honestly, that's amazing. That is,
He is amazing. That's why he's Mr. Inspire. Like
man.
that's one of the reasons he inspires me. Like you know, he's one of the handful of people that seriously inspires me to push harder and keep going harder, man.
I don't know how you couldn't after
So
hearing something like that, you know?
I'm just honored that I've got to know him. Like I
Yeah.
just tweeted at him, like
yeah,
Oh,
he did. He
really?
just tweeted, yeah, yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. He tweeted me, and
yeah,
then that's how we just met each other. I mean, we met up, and then I was like, yeah, I'll do the podcast. That'd
Wow.
be great.
Cool.
yeah.
Very cool.
And I had Joe, I
Okay.
had Joe contact me again to do like 20 minutes of the end of the podcast because I said, man, you know, I forgot to thank some of these people. So then I was like, can we just do you know, the last part? Because, you know, like I had to like be able to say, like, you know, give gratitude. You know what I mean? Because sometimes
Sure.
people don't think like, oh, they're not grateful, but like I am. Like, it's just, I don't, like, I'm not always 100% always saying it. Like every 10 minutes, you know, I'm grateful. Like, I know I am. Trust me. Like when you see me, if you see me, I'm grateful. Number 100% grateful for everything, all the people that's helped, all the areas I've been able to go to travel, the people I've been able to meet, the things that the reaction, how life has changed for people. 100% great. Everything that I have in my life, the water, the food, the transportation, you know, being able to get up and breathe, my air, I'm grateful. So we
Wow.
heard it here. We heard it here. So I don't have to say it all the time.
Well, Joe, I often say that you're one of the most giving people that I've ever met, but
Oh.
that title has been relinquished. It now goes
Oh
to
no.
Inspire. So that's the way it is, brother. I'm sorry. You've been bumped.
Oh, that's sad. That's
Oh.
so sad. It's okay. It's going. The title's going to a worthy person for sure. So Larry, yeah. So I going back to then, so like a month later, or not even a month, 2 weeks later, I had my first episode out of what was the Dreamers podcast.
Mhm.
And it was, a week went by, so I was like, oh, I'm just gonna release once a week. Once a week's fine, right? That works, right? And then 1 week went by, and I was like, this is painful to wait this long, because at that point I was like interviewing everybody I could possibly get my hands on. I was calling people out of the woodwork, like, and it's like, oh, my like friends would come over to hang out, and I'd be like, you're going back to school, like, let's make an episode about that. Let's pull the story out of that, and we would sit down with a podcast about it. And so like the first like 60 episodes, a lot of them were just like mostly close friends. Like that's what I did, like to get the reps in, right? So I was like, okay, so after the first week of waiting, I was like, well, you know what, we're going 3 episodes a week, because I already had like 25 episodes recorded. I was like, at this point, I'm gonna have a year's worth of content, and no big deal. So we went 3 days a week, and then about 4 weeks into it, I was like, you know what? What's 2 more episodes a week? I'm already like 60 episodes in front of it. So in the can. So I was like, screw it, let's go. So we went 5 days a week for like 3 months. Built up about 70 some episodes, 75 episodes, and I was feeling good about it. But one thing that I if I could go back, one thing I would do differently, and I've said this, on many shows, is I wouldn't have bothered to edit them as much as I did. I wasted so many hours of my life editing these, because I was like, oh man, if I edit them, then they're going to be like, oh, I sound so great, I'm going to share this episode. It's going to be great. It's going to be like rocket fuel, because they sound so great. And I spent, if it's an hour-long show, I took over 2 hours just to edit it before I even wrote show notes. If actually going back and thinking about it, I would rather, instead of editing, and taking, okay, it's a half-hour show, or it's an hour-long show, and I shaved off a whole 2 minutes and spent 2 hours doing that. I would have rather take those 2 hours into maybe spending 30 minutes, 40 minutes into making some real, like, decent SEO'd show notes that could get found, rather than just like basing my SEO based on the person's name, which in some cases has been great for me, but by and large, it hasn't. So I would have put more time into like thinking about titles for the show, formulating a lot more around, getting found, rather than like the person that I'm having on the show be found, that kind of thing. I would have spent more time in marketing it, doing more things in the marketing realm, rather than like wasting my my neighbor across the street, she would be like, Joe, I saw you were up at 2:00 in the 2:00 in the morning. Your office light was still on. I'm like, yeah, I'm editing these podcasts, and of course you're doing 5 days a week, so it's a never-ending treadmill of just, I got them to do the next episode. We went to LA and to Las Vegas for the first time, and we flew to Las Vegas and then drove to LA. And in the back of that car, like, I'm sitting there editing podcasts, like nobody's business. I'm listening to them at like 3x speed, scrubbing through to get all the ums and the ahs and the pauses, and like, it wasn't until 2 years later when I had my daughter, that I realized, like, I don't have time for that. Like, there ain't no time for editing. Like, this is how it is it is. Like, this is it. Like, if you sound like crap, like, then that's on you.
All right.
That ain't my fault. So deal with it.
Right.
If you don't like it, don't come on the show. There ain't time. There ain't
Right.
no time to be editing it, and there ain't no budget, because there wasn't much of a budget back then to edit it. So I wasn't paying for it to be, and editing costs. It adds a lot, especially when you're talking 5 days a week, like, $30-$40 an episode, $50 an episode, $60 an episode times 5, and that's just 1 week. Like, no, thank you. No, thank you. So I would definitely do that differently. I would spend more time on marketing, more time promotion, less time on editing and all that, and more time recording, more time getting, more and more guests, and just staying out in front of the on the treadmill, staying out in front of it. So
Right.
if I could do it differently, like that's because ultimately, all these years later, those episodes, they matter. Because here's the thing. To me, it was a timepiece for my guest, right? I was doing them a service and doing myself a service by trying to figure out like what I really wanted to do in my life, because I really didn't know. And I'm like, oh well, if I have them and I'm building them like a time capsule of like their life and putting it like right here, right now. That's one of the reasons I wanted to edit it, because I thought, again, I was like, that mentality of like, if they sound amazing, they're going to share it. But the fact of the matter is people that I didn't think had any kind of audience shared it and got way more, people that into my corner and coming back than I could have had other, like with people, big name people. Another big piece of advice that was given to me by a friend who's no longer a friend, sadly, is, she was like, Joe, she's like, I'm listening to all these shows, and she's like, you're missing out on like one key thing here. She's like, why do people watch Ellen? And I was like, well, because Ellen. And she's like, exactly.
Giveaways.
No, well, because Ellen, right? So, well, Ellen's giving away stuff. She's having the celebrities on. But the fact of the matter is, Ellen's going to be there tomorrow. The giveaway is different. The celebrity's different. The sob story is different. The kid that saved, Santa Claus is different. Like it's a different story, different people every day, but it's always Ellen. And it was at that point that I was like, she's like, you need to like inject yourself more into the show, because you're kind of just taking a backseat the whole time, just like listening. And people would tell me like afterwards, they'd be like, I feel like I just got back from a therapy session. I'm like, that's awesome. But they're not paying me to be a therapist, right? And
Right.
and the fact is, they're not on the show tomorrow, so I need the people that they're bringing, the little bit of people that they're probably bringing to the table. I need them to like me so that they stick around for the next episode, because I'm going to be there, not the person they came for.
Mhm.
That seems like a
thank
very
you, Pete.
common
I appreciate that.
because I did the same thing with Readily Random. I took Readily Random and I let people just share their stories, and I would just give a yeah, right, right, you didn't hear me. You didn't get my personality out of any of that. And if you go back and listen, yeah,
seriously, you're doing a disservice, because your personality is incredible.
Thank you.
That's like, it's magnetic. So,
but
you're doing a disservice.
You weren't getting that, and it wasn't until just recently that in the last 6 months to a year, really, that I've started giving my side of things. I started participating more with just who I am. If it is who it is, it is what it is. And that's much more rewarding, even though it's serious and it's entrepreneurial content. I can still give my spin on it, and putting my spin on it makes it so much more enjoyable. And I get more feedback from my guests. I get more thank yous from my guests. I get more just everything back, because I'm giving some of me, right? I'm dedicating myself. I'm giving away some of myself, and it's so much more rewarding in the end.
It is. It
And
absolutely is.
I have that same regret. I wish I had just given more right out of the gate, but I've told you this before. I'm a get kind of guy. It's something I thought my whole life. I'm a selfish son of a gun, and it comes with maturity, I think, where you go, you know what? I need to give. I need to give. And I've seen the results, and it's I'm very appreciative of it. And that's something else you gain from it, is an appreciation for those that give back and that are also just mind-blowingly giving, like Joe Pardo and Mr. Inspire down here. You guys are amazing, just amazing. And it's inspirational, it really is.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And it's
you.
inspirational to hear that, right? To hear that somebody's picking up on it and wanting to run with it. I mean, that's what the whole Super Joe Pardo thing's about, right? It's bringing the super out of everybody else. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Travis Wolf, I miss you, man. I hope that at some point I can get to hang out with you again sometime sooner. And I want to bring in Pete Turner here. What's up, Pete? How you doing? I'm
Oh,
What
sorry
up,
we didn't get to
fellas?
record again. Again.
It's only like the fifth time you canceled on me, man. It's all right.
hi, Pete.
I'm hopeful
Hey,
that maybe
fellas.
tomorrow or Thursday we can make it happen.
All right. I like it. Well, I'm here for you whenever you need me. I'm on my evening walk, so I don't want to take up much time, but you got to celebrate 6 years, man. That's huge. I'm proud of you for what you're
Thank
doing.
you.
And the fact that, think about how much better you are than you were 6 years ago at this whole thing. Good for you.
I would never wear sunglasses if it wasn't for my man Larry over here. That's for sure. I got better sunglasses now. I can actually see. Well, I can see this screen. I can't see that screen. That screen's IPS, so it's like shimmering everywhere. But thank you, Pete. I appreciate that. This is it's incredible. I think what's really one thing I don't know. Some people might realize it, but not everybody probably realizes it. Like, okay, so like the Dreamers podcast, now Super Joe Pardo show, hasn't really had too many episodes this year. Like I've released, I think 4 or 5 episodes this year, but I've been releasing other shows like Indie Podcast every single week for the last, or well, almost every single week. Sorry, Pete. For the last several months since September or October, and I'm also doing the Business Geeks podcast. But I've done other shows too, like Living the Dream podcast, which is now living on through my friend Christy and Krista, and Krista. They're carrying that torch, as well as Birth. There was the story of me and my wife leading up to our first child. I wish we had done one for Dom. But time, once you have a 2-year-old, it's kind of hard to put a documentary style podcast together with a lot of editing and interviews with family members and things like that. And then I feel like there's a couple other shows that were in there. There's like a couple other things. I know. There was a time where I did when I was doing the Business with Super Joe Pardo, which the Dreamers podcast became Business with Super Joe Pardo. I did a vlog, a daily vlog for 100 days, where I did a video each day with a business lesson brought in from daily life. Which I liked a lot. But you know what it taught me is how to edit really fast in video, and gave me an appreciation for shooting video, which ultimately led to the Top with Super Joe Pardo in 2019, which hopefully, knock on wood, come next year we'll be able to start filming some more episodes of that, because I really want to do that. Going and helping small businesses is one of my key points. Oh, go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, Joe, when we finish this recording, are you going to go back and edit out all those birds?
No, I'm not.
on.
What's wrong? You don't like birds, Larry?
Oh, I love the birds. I love the birds.
No, it was a joke. It was a joke about me not wanting to edit podcasts anymore.
Yeah, before you came on, he was crying about editing, and it just kind of fit.
Yes, no, it is. Yeah, no. But here's the thing: I would have back in the beginning days.
Right.
I was super adamant about doing it. I even had to go and do a handful of episodes where I used a Yeti microphone, which I know is a joke, but
yeah, here we go.
But hey, the first 2 years of the show was on a Yeti microphone, and it was fine. But I used it in the conversation piece, where there was 2 of us we were both using the same microphone. But the problem is I project really loud, and they're all talking like this. So then I had to go through and amplify each of their responses through the podcast.
I've had to do that before, man. It's horrible, and I've been there. I have been right there, because when I first started my first show, I had a snowball and a co-host. So my co-host and I are passing the snowball back and forth, trying not to breathe into it, trying not to fumble it as we pass it back and forth. We didn't even have it sitting on a desk or any kind of arm or anything. He's just, here you go. Okay. And he would talk, and then I would talk, and then he would talk, and then it was crazy. It was the nuttiest thing ever.
And you're talking to different volumes and everything. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible. That is editing that I don't No, I wouldn't. Nowadays, I just wouldn't do it. It just isn't time. Unless it was like I got to interview Elon Musk, and like this was the only way that we were allowed to do it was some, janky, talking into the iPhone thing, and it's all on one track and everything. Like I just wouldn't do it otherwise. It'd have to be somebody worth the effort of me doing it. There was another show I was going to do before I bring up that show that never saw the light of day, actually. Thank you, Travis. I appreciate that. I'm glad you've gotten to learn a lot over the years about podcasting and content creation. So proud of you, man. You've come so far. You and your family just are incredible. If you don't know the Wolf Pack, man, you're missing out. Their son is on the show Bob Hart's Abishola on CBS, which is like created by the guy that did The Big Bang Theory and a bunch of other shows.
Wow, that's cool.
It's a great. I don't really like sitcoms that much, but it's a really funny show because it pushes the borders of like racial jokes and things like that. It's really funny, and I feel pretty genuine as well about it. He said, Travis said, I guess I'm getting rid of my Yeti. No, just turn the gain down. So like one of the who was it? Terry Watkins, who talked this weekend at the Indie Pod conference, the virtual conference that we held. She used the Yeti outside. I was like, oh, I hope nobody starts up their lawnmower while you're out there. And she was like, oh no, there's a lawnmower going on right there. She just turned the gain down. That's all I did was I just turned the gain all the way down. And it's good. Just got to keep it quiet around and turn the gain down. But a lot of people beat up on it because it's an easy target because it's $100 microphone.
And it's huge.
It is huge. It is huge. So the show that never saw the light of day, this was like, I don't know what year this was. Let me see if I have.
Hey, Joe, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to see you guys later. I just wanted to say congratulations. And I'll track you guys while you're doing the show and hear that story. But thank you so much and great job. Keep it up.
No, thank you so much.
Take care, Pete.
I'm hoping I'll be in touch tomorrow. It probably won't be tomorrow because we're going to be doing all the lights and the.
I expect you to cancel again either way. It's no problem.
So probably Thursday.
Okay,
Thursday.
That sounds good. Hit me up. Let me know.
All right, I will. So we did this show called, I think it was supposed to be called Geek. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be called Geek. Yep, here it is, Geek. So I wrote a pilot episode, Draft 1, Act 1, Take 2 of MP3. Let me see what this sounds like.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
Careful.
Yeah, so I'm not sharing my audio, but but no, so it was this really how long is this? This is like 20 minutes, I think. No wait, how is that only like 5? This MP3 is only like 5 minutes.
Oh,
where'd he go?
Mr. Inspire, it's great to meet you, and I'm glad that you joined me tonight for this episode of the Readily Super Joe Show. Since it's just you and I now, we'll just have our own podcast.
Yeah, this has been great. This is great.
It's spectacular.
I know you guys talked about editing. I use Dragon Naturally Speaking, so everything that I'm doing is my voice.
Okay.
Like I'm using my voice for everything, like typing, talking, you name it. So like trying to edit anything has been quite challenging and tedious. So it's like ever since I've ever even done a Facebook broadcast, because that's where I do my broadcasting.
Right.
I just let it rip, and then I'm like mouse grid, 1, 2. Oh wait, switch window. I'm like, hold up, people. After a while, it's basically like you get what you get. Like stick around, but this is how it's gonna be unless I have a person controlling the board. If I had a board or something that could do all that, but this is how it is. If I got to do it and I got to switch the window and, Joe's popping up, like screens and doing screen share, I'd have to say that. So I'd have to say tell the system to wake up and then say, okay, open window, click mouse grid, 9, 8, 1, no, not 1, no, 3, mouse grid, 8, and I'd be like, okay, mouse click, share. Okay, no, perfectly. So my broadcast has always been, I wasn't on the back seat. Like I was always in the front because I have to like lead it and direct it because, I'm not editing or anything like that. Like I just put it out and then once it's done, I save it. Unless it was like really bad, like I'm like, I'm not gonna save that one. That was a bad one. But I've actually practically fallen asleep at a couple of mine. I have literally been on it because I have a form of narcolepsy, and I would be so busy because I have a shop. I have a graphic design business and apparel company, so we would be out and about in the road, and I would be talking like, "Hey, what's up, man? Everybody, Thomas broadcasting live from the van, rolling with you guys, blah blah blah." And then we'd stop somewhere and get supplies, and I'd be talking to the audience, and I would literally like fall out, and people would be typing and like, "Hey, you okay? Or how are you doing? I see you there. Hope you're sleeping well." Like, I've literally fallen asleep on my broadcast. And actually, one time when I was broadcasting, because I had a really great idea to broadcast from my brand new sleep number bed called, it's the sleep number hour with Eric Patrick Thomas. What number are you? And I actually fell asleep for 45 minutes on the broadcast, and people didn't get off. People were signing on watching me sleep.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
like,
The
man,
Truman Show over here.
Yeah, I can't believe
yeah,
like they didn't sponsor your show, man. You were like, look, I fell asleep on the bed. This is perfect.
Yeah.
I know but the thing that Joe was saying about editing, he would go back and change it. But what if Joe wasn't ready for what he was about to come into? And him editing kept him just that. He didn't grow too fast, too quick. See, I watched Joe, and Joe, the podcasting wasn't the way podcasting is now with the video and everything. Joe was riding it right at this a little bit right there at the beginning. Like he was right before people. And so other people were able to see Joe as like a leader almost. Like, hey man, that's the go-to guy. That's Super Joe Pardo. Because I've watched and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, there's 10 people. Now there's a group, the group of all the podcasters. And then he has a conference. And then he has awards. You know what I mean? Like it's grown and stuff. And that's the one thing. Like when you jump in, you don't want to grow too fast. You don't want to grow too slow. You just want to, go at the right pace. And some things actually stop you so that you don't grow too fast. Because when you get there too fast, you're not prepared and you're not appreciative of what you get. Like you'll get there and you're like, oh, that was easy. No, you want to have this microphone go out. You want that lawnmower. You want those challenges. See, barriers, when you get to that goal, you are going to appreciate that goal when you get to it so much better than just going A to B without any challenges. Challenges happen for us to be able to breathe life and appreciation into the things when we get it.
Right on, man.
So,
absolutely.
To tag on to that, here I am 5 years plus podcasting, 5.5 years or so. No, 5 years. No, don't go 5.5 just yet. I'm not 6. Last night I had an interview with a cybersecurity expert, world-renowned cybersecurity expert that was the cybersecurity advisor to President Obama. So this guy's the cat daddy. I love cybersecurity. The topic is I've always been a geek about it, and I just loved it. And having the opportunity to talk to this guy was just, I was so excited all day. I couldn't wait until 6 o'clock. Well, I use Zoom for my conferences, and I hate Zoom audio because it compresses the audio a certain way, and it just doesn't sound real good. So I record a secondary audio that I use for the audio only podcast. And then I just use Zoom's video for the video. But here we are again. I even started recording about an hour before the podcast just to make sure that I had Audacity running in the background and it was recording. I didn't care. I wanted to make sure it was on. Well, unbeknownst to me, I still don't know when I did it. I went into Audacity and I closed out the entire program. And I didn't know it. So here we are talking, and I'm just loving the conversation. And I look down to my taskbar and I see that Audacity's not launched. It's not even open. What's going on here? And my heart just sank, right? my heart just sank because I knew now that, yeah, I'm going to have audio, but it's going to be mediocre at best. And but anyway, so the bottom line is, guys, I got to talk to this guy who was phenomenal. It was a dream guest for me, but I have shitty audio. So that's awesome.
Oh, cursing there. Stop.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Stop.
Right.
But you do have some audio though, right? You do have the audio though.
I have all the audio. It's just not pristine.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But sometimes though, the content, the person, the story and the person is just, like you're intrigued with it. Like you don't even pay attention. You're just like, wow, man, this story is amazing. No matter how, like, and you go through those blips and bleeps and bad audio. You fight through it. If it's not a really interesting story, then you might turn away. But if it's interesting,
terrible. It's mediocre at best, but it's definitely listenable.
At least it's recorded at all. I mean,
exactly.
that's
exactly.
the really
like,
important part.
Gosh. So,
did you record? Do you have your expression when you looked and noticed the Audacity wasn't launched when you figured that out on video? Do you have your facial expression?
I guarantee you it's on video. Yes, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm going to need to watch that because it's about 20 minutes in when I realize it. So I'm going to have to check that out and see if it's noticeable.
So I was well, thank you, Eric. I appreciate all the compliments there, and I totally agree that you have to be willing to put those hours in, and if if I didn't know how to edit, then it would it's one way to cut the teeth, right? Like just like editing 100 videos in 100 days for a YouTube channel that ultimately didn't help my growth that much, though there was a lot of people that missed it after the fact because I posted it not just to YouTube but also to Facebook, and that's where I got most of my traction was in Facebook and in LinkedIn. But in as far as like YouTube, like it didn't really go anywhere. I want to introduce somebody else to the round table here, Mr. Tim Gillette. How are you doing today?
Hey, what's up, Tim Gillette?
How much trouble you guys?
Tim?
I seen you guys all hanging out. Figured I'd come join in the party.
Yeah,
very cool, man. Very cool.
Yeah.
You gotta get your shades though, man. You gotta get your shades.
I don't know if I have. I don't have shades up here. They're in my truck.
I think the rock star guy. Come on now,
Mr. Inspire over. He's got a hat.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, I got a hat.
I can do the Bono thing.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Well, Stacy asked, "What's up with the sunglasses?" And what's up with the sunglasses is Mr. Larry Roberts here was rocking his sunglasses, and I was like, "Oh, I got some sunglasses," so I was like, "Oh, well, I'll just put my sunglasses on my sunglasses," and but then I needed glasses.
I can't believe I don't even have sunglasses on up in
my
office.
Like, so I was just like, so she, is the future so bright? I need sunglasses.
That's exactly what it is, man.
It is bright, and that is exactly why we're talking about this today. Is that it is super bright, and it's actually really hurts my eyes to put the glasses in front of it. Yeah.
Nobody saw it.
Yeah, but Joe, can you read anything on your screen with them?
I can. I can't see this screen. This screen's an IPS screen. This one is a TN panel, and I guess TNs are better for polarized glasses because that's what these are.
Hey,
So
I'm going to step away for just a second. I'll be right back.
All right, you do that, sir. To answer Travis's question, you can record individual audio via Zoom. It's still compressed and pretty low, but at least it's a good backup. Yes. I don't know. I don't use Zoom. Do you use Zoom, Tim?
I use Zoom for my business meetings, like client mastermind calls. I don't do them for I don't use Zoom for broadcast at all. I didn't like the quality of the recording.
I do. I just learned how to use Zoom on broadcast the other night.
So anyway, yeah. So we're Stacy. What we're doing here is we're just celebrating 6 years of podcasting and talking about the past and the stories and thank you, and just talking about what the future is gonna look like here because obviously the show name changed again. I hate to say again, but it was Dreamers Podcast, then it became Business with Super Joe Pardo, back to Dreamers Podcast. And now it's just the Super Joe Pardo show to full circle, full brand.
See, I'm totally in favor of that, Joe, because I'm all about building your own brand.
Yes. Actually, oh, thank you, Stacey. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I love your avatar, Stacey. That looks great.
Hi, Stacy.
Good job. So yeah, so we're, I want to say it's, I don't know. I think it's all kind of coming together. It all takes time, right? Obviously OBX and Adobe. You mean OBS?
Yeah. Do you mean OBS, Travis?
Probably OBS. Yeah. I use OBS mostly to stream games, stream DJ sessions and things like that. I use StreamYard for everything else pretty much.
I'm using StreamYard for a lot more too, man.
Yeah, StreamYard is great. Though I will say that Restream.io just sent out an email yesterday or the day before, that they now allow up to 4 people to join your live session in Restream. So they offer the only thing they don't seem to have is the scrolling text at the bottom, but they have the option to like do double, like a top and bottom based text on the screen. So it's not as the same, but here's the thing though. Like I have Restream on a AppSumo deal, so I have it for life, and I'm kind of like, do I want to keep paying? Is StreamYard really worth the money to keep paying for? So I'm actually in the middle of a debate, because I think coming up soon, actually, my subscription on this is going to be renewing for a year.
You bought the 1-year package with StreamYard?
Yes, on a lifetime discount. So it's like $200 for the year. Not crazy amount of money, but like if I don't have to pay, like $200 is $200, man. You know,
I don't have the Restream deal you have.
Like, I'm sorry.
So Joe, you guys don't use Zoom to broadcast live on Facebook?
No, I use this.
So you use StreamYard
once, yeah.
So is it very similar? Like if I had a StreamYard account, do I like open it up and then see like the video screens like Zoom, and then you connect it to Facebook and you go live on Facebook using StreamYard?
Yes.
Is that how?
Yeah. So right now I'm going live to both Super Joe Pardo, the Facebook page, and my profile.
I saw you on Facebook, and that's how I clicked on the link that you put there. I just clicked on it, and it said, get ready to join. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's...
No, this well, in a way, I guess now Zoom actually does have a green room. And the fact that it makes you wait, you got to let the people in. But Zoom has their logo, no matter whether you pay or not. Their logo's in the design.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow, that's not great.
There's no way to take the watermark out of there.
That stinks. So Travis asks, what do you guys think about using a green screen as a background as long as you have a quality camera and great editor? I'm asking for a friend. So Ross Brand, wherever Ross Brand is, I should flag the Ross, hit the
Ross Brand's
brand.
probably, he knows better on how to do that than I do. Well.
Yeah, so I bought a green screen. It's a pull down one from Elgato, and I actually ended up returning it, and I didn't even bother taking it out of the box because, I don't know. I'm really adamant about setting up a great background, and if I can, if it's an option, which in my case I'm trying to figure that out, and once we get walls painted, so it'll be a little bit better. But I don't know. I prefer setting up something live versus a green screen. Ross loves the green screen. I think he's in a much smaller room, like. So it's not a bad thing. Here's one thing though, with the green screen, you not only do you need a great camera, you don't really need a great editor because it should just do it live, like StreamYard does it live, like right in the software, like in the browser. But you got to have a powerful enough computer to do it. Like you really need at least like a 6-core processor. I wouldn't on a quad core you could get away with it, but the fan's probably going to scream depending on what kind of computer you have. So it definitely, like, that's something to take into account. Like if you don't have the horsepower to really do it and do it well, then it's going to look like crap. And if it looks like crap, then you probably are better off just not doing it at all.
I started watching stuff from like live streaming pros today. I like the idea of setting up the background the way you want it. And like, I don't have to up and down or move it. I mean, I know a guy who moves his freaking screen depending on what he's doing. I don't want to do that, man. I want to have it. My office is the same way, no matter how you see it. Yeah.
Right.
I think it's kind of nice too, because then you're in different locations too. You're like, oh, okay, let me count what's in your background today. I think like maybe the background is like when you're branding. If you're like having a website or something like that in the background, or like your official brand, then maybe that's like where you incorporate that. Like, oh, let me put my sign behind me or my banner or something so people get it. But I like the more natural thing. And look at how it is now with news and media. All of them are in their basements or in their, dining rooms and everything. There's kids running around. And, you know what I'm saying? It's all become that. Like everybody's now just kind of in their own home doing the same kind of, the stuff that's what's going on. But yeah, trying to get that green screen and that background. I just like natural. I don't know more.
It's also tough because you got to get the lighting right too.
God, that's the hardest part, dude.
That's the thing.
I think it's gotten easier. I think it's gotten a little bit easier, but yeah, you got to make sure you have even lighting. Yeah, I'm open to it. I don't think it's terrible. I think you have to find a background that makes sense, that doesn't look super cheesy or super green screenish. You know what? Like Ross Brand, like the way he does his, he has a moving background. So like it's as if there was like screens behind him with scrolling text and things of that nature. The reason I bought a green screen wasn't actually to mask my backdrop. The idea was that when I do like video game streaming, I could be like everybody else and like cut myself out and put myself in the corner of the video rather than having like a rectangular box.
Yeah.
But then I decided, I was like, it's not really worth it. I like my background. I'm not sitting in like a 2-bedroom apartment where like the other bedroom is literally just a giant green screen set up. So like I want people to look in the background. I want them to get the personality and get my personality from my background whenever possible. In fact, it bothered me a lot when I moved upstairs I gave up my downstairs office, which was huge and awesome looking, and I loved it a lot. I gave that up and I moved upstairs so the kids could have a playroom downstairs. I hated it because the way the room was set up, like I had this awesome, like all my records were like on a horseshoe kind of thing. My turntables were in the middle of it and all that. But yet my computer, like if I'm facing the turntables right now, my computer was to the left. So my camera was facing the wall that was next to all my records and everything, and would have looked awesome on camera. But I couldn't do it because the way that the room was all, because I shared it with my wife with her scrapbooking stuff. So it wasn't ideal. So I really hated my background when I was upstairs, and now I have an opportunity to change all that with this room, with the studio down here in the garage. So I'm looking forward to putting more effort into getting that done as we get the room wrapped up. So
what was your DJ name?
DJ Rom, ROM. And the reason was Rom was my gamer tag prior to, now I just go by Super Joe Pardo for everything. So that's how I became DJ Rom was starting back in like 98 using Rom for online gaming and all that.
Not a big Tron fan?
The movie? No,
Yeah.
Nah, I never watched it.
I
tried to watch. I'm watching it with like, it was boring. So I watched like 10 minutes of it.
I'm talking about the original one. Come on now.
The original Tron.
Oh my god!
The video game.
So I need to go. I need to go back and try and rewatch it.
And you're
The video game was sweet back in the day too.
Oh
at the
yeah,
arcade.
Armitage. Have you ever played? You probably have never played Armitage, but that's literally the Tron bikes. Like somebody turned the Tron bikes into just that game in a 3D world. We used to play that on hours on end with my guys.
Tim, you a big
at the
video
LAN
game
parties.
guy?
Oh me? Yeah.
Tim down there, he's
Oh
asleep.
Tim.
He's like,
Oh Tim. Yeah.
No,
Oh, you're so welcome, Travis.
I think I play a couple games on my iPad. That's it. I'm not like big into the video games like everybody is now.
Not even back in the 80s when, like, again, when Tron came out, they had the Tron.
I was not into Tron. I was into it was like a space one, and it wasn't
Invaders.
Space Invaders. No,
Galaga.
Defender.
what was it?
Defender?
Not Defender. Galaga.
Galaga?
Yeah,
Asteroid?
Galaga.
Yeah, well, that was the job I had working at like a Roy Rogers or something like that back east, and we had a game in the lobby, and that was what we all did. That was in between like shifts, or we were waiting for somebody to get done at the end of the night. We'd all play, around. You know what I mean? Everybody put in a quarter, and we'd see who can beat who.
Nice. Nice.
Sounds very short-lived.
Yeah.
I miss those video game days.
You remember Back to the Future? Where'd you learn how to shoot? So crack shot. And I was good at crack shot. Yeah. Race. My brothers and I would race cars. That's NASCAR racing. Yeah, and it was more a fight of who got number 3 than it was of who won the game.
I still remember that day. That was a sad day.
It was a very sad day.
I remember, as soon as I saw it happen, I was like, man, I hope he's all right. I was like, it didn't seem very bad. And then, it was very obvious within minutes that.
Well, no, I watched it on TV, and we were going to go to a friend's birthday party here in town, and literally watched the end of the race. Okay, great. We know who won. All right, let's go. We got to go to John's birthday party. We hop in the car and go. And I remember because I had just gotten like a flip phone. All right. And I'm like, my phone rings, the flip phone rings, my dad. And I open my phone and my dad goes, my brother Kenny was at the race. He was sitting in the stands and watched it. And my dad goes, Kenny just called. He says, you know what I mean? They think Dale's going to pass away. And I'm like, that wreck didn't look that bad.
No.
And then I went back afterwards. I've watched footage on it now, year after year. And you can hear things like Daryl in the stands because his brother won and going, well, I hope Dale's all right. You know what I mean? And like, that was the clues you missed because literally it was the end of the race and everybody just spawned it off.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that was I was playing video games with my friends and we had it on the TV right there, like while we were playing computer games. And it was sad.
It was the second worst thing that happened in 2001.
That was 2001. Oh my god! Yeah,
you got to think about that.
Wow.
Dale Earnhardt passed away and never seen 9/11.
He lived in a better world.
Yeah,
or a very different world at that. Larry, did you have any more questions for me?
Well, just I think we wanted to take it down memory lane and understand where you came from and how you got to where you're at. And I think most of us are going to want to know, what are your plans for the future, man? Yeah. What are you going to do for 7? What are you going to do for 8, 10?
Hopefully more than this, because
for like this. I'm
so 2 years ago. Well, I do. But 2 years ago, 2017. I think it was 2017. I did DreamCon. It was pretty sure it was 2017. So we brought in like a whole bunch of speakers. Travis Wolf, who was commenting here, he was one of those speakers. Maxwell Ivy traveled across the country as the blind blogger to be there. I had never met him prior to that. I learned so much from those encounters of getting to hang out with him. I had never been around a blind person before either. So like, it was all uncharted territory for me. it was Erica Blocker and Azuka Zook and John Casto and Lori Foster, who she. Oh, thank you so much, Travis. So glad you're still hanging out here. Lori Foster with her story where she went from a wheelchair, utilizing both the Dreamers podcast and John Casto, he's a gym owner and a coach, health coach. He helped her, get her out of a wheelchair and running Spartan races. So she went from because she had like fuses in her back and stuff.
Right.
She still does have them in her back, and she lost a ton of weight. And she ran a Spartan race. Just I think like not even a year after. I think it was less than a year after the because she told me, so she came up for the first anniversary show happened here in this garage. We had like 30 people come out to the house. We had a house party. We raised money for Give Kids the World. We had people from all over, like past guests and stuff, like use Google Hangouts to do the live stream. We did like a 3-hour live stream. Raised, I don't know, I think it was like $1,000 for Give Kids the World. Charity. Yeah, it was great. We had a cake.
The first anniversary of your podcast?
The first anniversary of my podcast. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Can I find a picture? Let me see if I can find a picture real quick. Let me see. Arc.
The first anniversary of my marriage.
Hey, John.
Man. Let me see here. So, where is the pictures from? Okay, so here you go. So this is let me share my screen. So this is the cake that we had. We actually got the logo, the original logo that I drew the night. No, this isn't the original. This is the second logo for Dreamers Podcast. The first logo I drew the night before it launched. I drew the first logo of the show. Let me see. I know it's in here. This isn't it.
Are those monkeys going around the cake?
No, monkeys. What are you talking about?
Those are balloons.
Balloons.
Oh,
oh my
god,
dude.
No,
I take the glasses off.
I get the balloons on top, but it looked like they were monkeys that were going along the edge of the cake, and it's because I have these.
No, I thought they were party streamers, but
Well, my monitor's turned down to like negative any kind of brightness so that it doesn't reflect in these glasses. Then I have the glasses on, so it's just like I can't see squat.
Okay, so this was the first. Yeah, here's the first logo. So I was supposed to get my brother-in-law to do a logo, here's the logo that was supposed to be. So it was the purple gear. Was after the Carousel of Progress in Disney World.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's like that's where the gear came from. It was like night and day, and it was this thing. So that was supposed to be the first one, but he hadn't gotten it to me yet. So he didn't get that to me until the file is like from July of 2014. So the night before I go to launch, I still didn't have a logo yet. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna draw out Dreamers Podcast in bubble letters and like fan out the colors in Sharpie markers that I drew them with, and that's my logo. In fact, like literally, if you look up here, this is like the desk. This black part is the desk. So my picture was like this is my artwork from when the show first started. But hey, this is the artwork that got me to New and Noteworthy. So like,
get out of here!
It effing worked. Like, it worked.
Wow.
Yeah. So then like a couple months. So once he got me the gear logo, like I was like, I like it, but people didn't respond too well to it. So let me see. So that's how I eventually wound up with the. Where's it at? So that's how I eventually wound up with this. I drew this using Sharpie markers, and like this is an homage to Adventure Torium, which is the music album that I put together that kind of launched me on this crazy adventure journey. So that's like the up house there, and So people like this one, but they didn't like it as much as the original one, where I just like literally at like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night was like drawing it out and just like there's the markers and there's the picture and we're done.
And
We did it.
you didn't get any backlash from Sharpie for using their logo in your logo?
I reached out to them. They didn't care. They didn't care.
Oh.
They were like,
Podcast.
We don't care. But see, like, okay, so here's things from like the original, so not the original website, but like a version like 2.0 of the website. So like I was like, oh, I'm gonna make everything in Sharpie. So like I drew out pictures of all the buttons that you would have in the website. Let's see, can I just like hit like oh no, what happened?
Oh.
So like I was just like I'm just gonna draw out pictures. So there's like, oh, there's my DJ mashups button, and there's like the Dreamers email club, sign up, and there's the episode list, and you know the latter days where we would do like topics, and then like what Dreamers are saying. Like these are all the images that were used on the website.
Wow.
At the time, like hand drawn. So that was the theme. Like I literally hand drew it. None of that was like Adobe whatever.
Yeah, I picked up on that.
I'm sorry.
I said, yeah, I picked up on that.
Yeah,
I was thinking, if I did something like that, they, you know what I mean? I would be criticized, and they'd go, so Tim, did you get your 3-year-old to do that for you? I mean, that's the stuff I would.
I did get criticized for.
Oh no, I would get. You kidding? They would butcher me if I did that, and I'm like Mr. Screw Up, and they would butcher me if I did that. You got lucky.
Yeah, well, I didn't last long. I eventually switched it because I wanted something a little more professional looking.
But why? If that landed you in the new and noteworthy, which is
speaking of new and noteworthy, here you go. Here's new and noteworthy.
Oh, look at that! You had to have social proof.
Yeah, well, you had to have social proof.
Yeah,
and I'm friends with some of these people too. Like, who's that? Nathan Boyle, the Daily Travel podcast.
Red.
Like, yeah, Red. Red. He's Hooper. There's I was in health. Who is I gotta take these sunglasses. I can't be.
I know I've already turned on brightness. I'm sitting here going, well, what am I seeing?
Let me see here. So we hit new and noteworthy a bunch of times in different topics. I think I hit it overall like once. There's Jen Scalia. She's actually a local to me as well. That I've gotten to know over the years.
Oh, look, there's another one. What is that? Good to go or call your girlfriend. That's hand drawn with Sharpies as well.
There's Doc Kennedy. Doc is we go way back too. Thanks to following this show, this stuff. So yeah. Oh, here's the main thing. So I wasn't like at the top, but there's like Grant Baldwin, who I'm friends with, and there's Joel Bogus. Shout out to him. He's a great guy. There's the Red podcast with David Hooper, who I just finally got to meet at Podfest. So like this was, and I mean this is in 2014. This is like June and July of 2014. So
I knew 2 people on that list before I even knew what podcasts were.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Joel Boggett. Well, I know Joel personally here in town, but I know Joel personally, and Grant Baldwin. I knew Grant before I even knew what a podcast was. Yeah. So it's funny how like you look at these people and you find out years later they're leaders in the industry, and you're like, oh, I just thought it was Grant. I didn't know. Larry Roberts. Yeah, he's just a guy I know here in Dallas. What? He's famous? I didn't know that.
Exactly, right? Larry Roberts. Yeah, Larry Roberts is a great guy. Happy to know him. So these are like, it was cool at the time, right? Like it spiked up my downloads. This is back when it mattered, and that it actually meant something. I mean, look, there's Camille. I can't say his last name, but Camille, like from what's that show? Silicon Valley. Like, there's his X-Files show. There's Dreamers podcast. Like, right there. Like I didn't even realize that was him at the time.
Right.
Because he might not have. Was Silicon Valley might not have even been on yet.
No, not back. What did you say? It was 14?
Yeah, 2014. I don't know when.
Yeah, you're getting close.
Yeah, it would be like right on the cusp of when it started, but Yeah, so it's just like it's just one of those things where it's like all these things happen, and I'm still looking for the pictures of um from that night of the first anniversary show. Oh, here's something that we wanted to do. So this was a failed promotion that we just didn't happen. So my wife is big in scrapbooking and making cards and things like that. So we were like, oh, everything's handmade, like all the Sharpie artwork and stuff. So she made up this Share What Matters, and we were going to give away some like an iPad Mini and all that. It didn't really go anywhere. I also had this website, howtodream.co, which the idea was like, oh, instead of like Just Dreamers podcast is like howtodream.co, like, and that came from Shark Tank actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they did that. They had that chapstick where it's like when you put like you get two chapsticks in a pack, and like when you kiss, the two chapsticks make like a different flavor or something.
Yep.
And they registered howtokiss.com. So I was like, oh, well then I should totally register howtodream.co because I can't get howtodream.com because they wanted like $10,000, and I was like, no way, I'm not a mattress company or anything like that. Let me see here. So I still can't find. But in the meantime, I'm going to introduce Brett Allen to the table. What's up, Brett?
Allen, what's up?
What's up, Brett?
What's up, gents? How's it going?
Better now that you're here.
Yeah. It's an official party night. You're here, dude.
Yeah, well, late to the party, or like it.
Hey, it's never late, man. We're still here. We're still hanging.
Nice. How you guys doing? Thanks for letting me be a part of your production here.
Of course. Doing well. I'm looking for some pictures from the first. I don't know why I'm having such a trouble finding them. It must be in a different folder altogether. Because that's like a smart thing to do. Instead of like putting it in the folder, it should be.
It's labeled pictures.
Yes.
It's one of the 16,000 pictures in there from 2020.
Yeah, that's 6 years, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, Brett. It's kind of crazy. I definitely didn't ever expect to make it this far.
Most people don't make it past 8 episodes. 6 years is a really long time.
It is and it isn't. It doesn't feel. It's like I still feel like I'm learning, and I still feel like I'm putting together something bigger than I probably realize.
Well, you've put something together. At least I'm going to eat my lunch or dinner. Sorry, guys. Something that's sustainable. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that is really what I think everybody dreams to do. With their podcast is to try and make it sustainable. Tim and Larry and Joe. That's one of the things that I admire about you guys is that you've taken your show, but they're different things. You know what I'm saying? Like you've made them sustainable, whether it's a course or a class or whatever, you're teaching people things. Larry with his, 1 + 1 = I can't think of the name. Yeah.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
Tim,
you go.
All of it. Frozen.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not frozen. You're not frozen. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. It is definitely tough. I have so many things here that I've never even used either. Now that I'm looking through like old video like files in the ARC folder that I just kept shoving things into.
I just seen the Vine logo and I had to go look up the story on Vine again.
Oh yeah.
I mean, come on, it's been what 6 years since Vine's been around.
Yeah.
Vine, yeah. They got acquired by Twitter, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, so technically, yes, that is correct. They did technically get acquired by Twitter. However, what happened is Instagram pivoted and started doing the same thing with their Instagram stories. And so they put Vine out of business, basically. Kind of like Meerkat, Periscope, and then, whatever it is now, StreamYard, you take your pick.
Is Periscope's still out there, right? I see one of you guys using Periscope.
I use Periscope. I mean, I stream to it because I just checked the little box and restreams.
Yeah, but now it's just a bunch of, I can't say it because this is yeah, I mean, there's Twitch, I never did Periscope.
I did it like twice. And I was like, this is stupid.
Well, what I found on there was just a bunch of, I can't say it because I don't want to get censored, but it was just turned out to be something really stupid. That people were being stupid on there. I'm not saying the platform itself is stupid. I always was getting bombarded with weird stuff, so I never did it. But plus, I'm not that interesting to have a Periscope stream.
It's like it's like TikTok now. I've been trying to figure out how I can capitalize on TikTok, and I just feel like an idiot. I'm like, I can't post this stuff. I can't put this out there.
It's really hard to do it right. It's not as easy as you
think. You got to have the right apps, and you have to understand, exactly what they're looking for. And I did a TikTok series on the podcast, and a couple of the episodes haven't released yet. But and each one of them, I found out, does it a little bit differently to achieve the same result. So there's opportunities there to, of course, be a little more unique with it. But dude, I don't care. I'm 47 years old. I'm fat. I'm not, TikTok ain't my game, bro.
Rachel Peterson, dude, social media queen. She's 46 and she is blown up on there. She's monetized it, everything. It's unbelievable what she's done.
Figure out.
Rachel Peterson, you should have her on your show. She's fantastic.
Okay.
She's been on my show. She has been an early adopter. She's like a milder, more palatable version of Gary Vaynerchuk.
Okay.
Without the beanie. And she's super sweet. I've had her on my show. She's an easy catch.
Say her name. Because all I can think of is Laura Peterson, because she's
Pedersen. Rachel Peterson.
Rachel.
Blonde hair. She's
live streaming pros, isn't she? Yeah.
Absolutely. She does all the big events. And she is just like, I'm trying to get her back on now. I'm so inundated with backlogged with interviews that I just can't do it.
Is that her there?
There where?
No.
Well, Joe's got a picture up. Oh no, that's not her.
No. This was I found.
No, that's not her.
Okay, I don't know.
Oh, sorry. Do you finish what you were saying? I don't want to so interrupt.
No, I got the name. It's all good. TikTok, moving on.
Yeah.
So this is the garage I'm in right now. As you can tell, it's a little hard to tell, but if you look at this, it definitely has come a long way. This was in 2015, May 16th. So this was, like I said, we were raising money. This is the first anniversary of the Dreamers podcast. This is my boy Rich Quick, who sadly is no longer with us.
Is he the one that passed from COVID?
He didn't pass from COVID. He passed away back in September. He passed away back in September. Unfortunately, he's a rapper. Wow. He's a good friend of mine. Goes back to like 2003, 2004. And I was like, I want you to come co-host this episode with me, and we're gonna raise money. So this is Lori Foster. This is the lady who I was telling you about. Who lost? Oh,
that's cool. Always love when you do that.
Lost a bunch of weight. She was in in a wheelchair, and she should not have driven all the way from Virginia. I had never met her prior to this, and she actually stayed at our house for this event. So she drove up, and we raised money. So I was doing these episodes where we would raise money for a listener or somebody who needed money. We raised money for a couple different, ultimately a couple different people. She was one of them. She needed a new wheelchair because her wheelchair was like a standard one that's like you get in like the hospital, and because of the fuses in her back, it was actually like tearing the fuses apart, and it was putting her in a really bad position. So she she wanted to do this race. So here she is when she probably, I think that when she had this microphone in her hand, she was telling me that she was going to do a race. And actually, I'm going to tag her right now in the chat. So maybe if she's around, she can come hang out. So she was supposed to, or she wanted to run a Spartan race, but she was going to do it from her wheelchair. So fast forward like a year from then, and she did the Spartan race and didn't need the wheelchair at all. Like she had it there, and she was just pushing it around because she between the show and between her desire, and she met up with a coach and like a health coach and all that, and she lost a bunch of weight, and she was able to do it. In fact, I'll find that picture before we wrap up here, but yeah, so this is the garage that we're in right now. Like there's no like the siding is gone, there's drywall, there's nothing. Like right behind me here was where you would see all of this hanging out. This is, it's like, yeah, so it's come a long way in just a couple of weeks here.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so this is my friend Dave. He drove down from New York to be there. This is my wife Melissa. Remember I was telling you the hashtag How to Dream shirts looked way different than they did in that picture. But yeah, we were just raising money, this rich quick, and then we played Minute to Win It game. So that's where like the Face the Cookie from this past weekend. This is where this came from. There's probably actually pictures of my friend Jason Norda from school. He donated a kidney, and yeah, he's an awesome guy. Glad that he was able to help and be a part of it. Hey, there's the there's the, wow, we've had it that long. The pitch and bat that's sitting right behind me right now, as well as the shuffle alley that's out in front of me. There's the Face the Cookie. So that's what it's supposed to look like when you do it. that's what we were going for.
Your wife is a champ, dude. That's awesome.
Right?
I was practicing with chips and everything. I was trying to push it up in the air and catch it like a popcorn.
What do you do? You just put it on your forehead, Joe, and then
so you put your head back, cookie on the forehead, and then you like use your facial muscles to maneuver the cookie from like down your face and into your mouth. And I was donating $10 to give kids the world for every person that was able to complete it. So we had people that like called in through the Google Hangout. There's Dave.
I'm guessing he didn't complete it.
He might have eventually. I'm not. I don't quite remember.
I like his Dumbo shirt.
Oh yeah. Well, he's a big Disney. That's how I met him, was Disney. That's how a lot of my early listeners came from.
We should do an episode just on Disney, man. I'm a Disney freak.
That would be. I'm down for that.
Could talk about whether or not they should open the parks or not.
Oh, yeah, they should. But the thing is, they'll have to raise the money. I mean, what is it? Whatchamacallit said they would do it, but they would have to raise the price.
That's what Terry Harden talks about on hers about the opening the parks.
Well, the chief medical officer did a State of the Union, and all the Paris, China, the other one, they're all open, reservation only, and Florida's next, and then Anaheim at the end of August.
Dude, that reservation only could be the bomb right there. I would love that. That's
gotta do a reservation in advance.
Yeah.
Same with Six Flags here in the Bay. Sorry, I keep taking us off topic. I'm horrible.
It's all good. It's all good.
Brett, would you please leave?
Okay.
No. I'm just kidding.
I'm kidding. That's why my show is so different, is because I just ramble. No, they're saying reservation only is the model, is what they're going to do.
Wow.
It sounds like a really expensive proposition there.
So a friend of mine, he's showing those golf balls. A friend of mine in California, he got these golf balls, put his brand name onto it, and it just says something like, you know what I mean? Oh, don't mind the ball on the ball. It says, "Don't mind me. I'm just hiding from so and so," and it's got his logo on it. And he throws them in. He throws them in the rough.
That's
just
like
marketing. Is
like you stole this pen from blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So the goal here was to stack 3 golf balls, and it was
Can you
extremely
do it?
difficult. Oh yeah. It
Wow,
was done by
good
at least
job.
one. It wasn't done by me, but so you can actually see here. So Jason's holding the camera. So this is a C920 webcam, and it's like USB extension cabled all the way to my MacBook over there. And then
Oh,
you
wow.
can see like in the background, like that's where we were able to monitor the people in the Google Hangout, and then we were streaming out to YouTube onto like straight to my website at the time. So we have like a mobile camera rig set up so we could like do all this stuff, and then we had great audio because we had like
Wow.
mics going into a mixer. Like I had a DJ controller that I was using as a sound. I think Melissa got it. Yeah, my wife, she got it. She was able to stack 3 golf balls on top of each other, which was quite
Fancy.
impressive, 'cause that is really hard
Always
to
the
do.
wife who gets it. Why?
I don't know.
Is this a rule in life?
Yeah, I didn't.
So
I
it
did
can
not
be
get it.
done, obviously, because
Yes.
Mrs.
Because it's
P
like
did
you
it.
got to line it up. The dimples have got to line up just right. This is Rich Quick performing, and
Rich Quick.
yeah, man, yeah, he's the man. I love
Wow.
that guy. I wish he was still with us. Wish he was still with us.
Rich Quick.
Yeah, you should look him up. He's a rapper from South Jersey.
I'll check it out.
Let's see.
Yeah.
So and then there's more of the people that were here at the house. They were all like majority of these people were not in the garage. They were in the living room watching it
Funny.
on TV.
Wow. That's
That's
crazy.
Jeanette. She's probably the one that took all the pictures because she's our photographer for all the Indie PodCon and MapCon events. So she came down to New York with Dave, and there's the cake. There's a great
monkey.
picture of the cake.
And the cake again. And they do look like monkeys when you look at that picture.
They look,
Yeah.
they look like the barrel of monkeys, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, down here?
Yeah.
Or up here?
No,
Right down there at the bottom.
No, the balloons at the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah.
That looks like barrel of monkeys thrown down there.
Yeah. That's why I thought that's what it was.
But yeah, so
Excellent.
so it was a great time.
That's cool, man. It's very cool.
Oh, was this the next day? I think this is the next day because Lori was on her way. My friend Chris and and all them. So it was a great great experience getting the
Cracker Barrel, baby.
Oh, that looks so good right now.
Oh, I know. Now
I know it's all different.
But yeah, so the second year wasn't as great. Well, it was great, but it wasn't as great because the second year, so we had just had our baby Ava, and we didn't want to have a house party at the house because like Ava was only like 3 months old or whatever. So Melissa takes her to her mom's house. They go down there, and then Rich comes over, and it's me and Rich doing minute to win it games on live stream.
Oh, funny.
For like 2 hours raising money. And then Matt, who is like one of my brothers, he came over and he was helping us raise money as well. So I don't think we have any pictures from that. I do have all the video from that time. But it was a very much different thing. So my point being is that when we got to DreamCon, we rented a room at the Holiday Inn, where like a ballroom kind of thing, and we had all these speakers, and it was a really, I mean, as Travis says, DreamCon was dope. It was very powerful for like the 30 people that showed up.
That's awesome, dude.
Part of it. Yeah, so that was the 3rd anniversary, I think, in 2017, I think it was 2017, and then 2018, I don't remember. I think, well, we had Dom, so I don't know. I don't remember what I did for that, but here we are. And we get to spend the time with awesome people, and that's what matters. And we're going on for almost 2 hours now. So to summarize the future,
Back to Larry's question.
back to Larry's question.
Yeah, we can get that now.
Yeah. So the future is. The future is bright. That's why we wear sunglasses.
Right on.
Right? That's like.
Yeah.
It is getting very bright in here. The future is the Super Joe Pardo show, And taking that into a live stream, type of thing. I was doing live streaming with the show back in
Before it was cool.
back in like 2015, 2016, because I had Matt coming over and we would do these pre-shows. So we would record a pre-show, and then I would tack that pre-show on in front of the interview, so that like Eric's episode was made even longer because we did like an hour pre-show prior to the interview, which is already like 2 hours long, and then slapped
Oh
it
wow,
together.
that's cool.
Yeah, so that was it. But the way I did those pre-shows was like I would be recording into like my microphone with Matt, and he'd be there, and then I would just like set my phone up and record, like, so you could hear both of us in the recordings, and they're starting to come up in the Facebook, like, do you remember when you did this? But a lot of them are magical now because I'm holding Ava in a lot of them.
Wow.
So like while I'm doing the live, like I'm doing the live pre-shows, holding Ava, and then attaching those to these interviews that I've recorded at a different time, so that Matt didn't have to be available at the time in which we did them. So it's kind of neat, and like here we are, just like 3-4 years later. I want to do everything live stream because I got the buttons like that I can like play live music.
That's my next goal.
Like and bring in the music. So I don't just have to be like clap and yell like and then have to go and edit that in after the fact. The music
is that a Rodecaster that you're using?
No, I'm using a Stream Deck.
Stream Deck.
Yeah, so it's from Elgato. I'm using the XL version, so it has 32 buttons, and I can do things like I can sing to all of you right now, like that. Or I could sound like super.
That was actually
super
pretty good.
devilish.
I was kind of
Pretty
impressed.
cool, yeah.
Like this. How are y'all doing tonight?
And that's
How are
like
y'all doing that good, huh?
You have 30 seconds to live.
Yes, 30
We are
seconds
not
to live.
listening. We do not forget.
Talk.
Give me back my son.
Give me back my son!
So yeah, so sounds. And
Can you record
music
phone
and-
calls through that too?
So you're not recording music. You're not recording anything. So I can drop in like sound effects.
No
there's
copy.
voice mod things. But it's literally
I
just
want
playing
one
it
of
to
them now.
like an input. So it's playing it to the microphone that I'm using, but it's not like it's a virtual microphone.
Copy.
So like it's
Okay,
pretty cool.
okay,
It's
Larry,
called
we should
voice
get one
mod.
of them. We're going to do a show together so we can goof off with it here in town.
There you go. I've been thinking about it, and I've got a Rodecaster, and it holds 24. Is it? Maybe 32, but it's not convenient because only 8 of the buttons are actually visible, and you have to scroll through the other sets of buttons. So you get 8 nice ones, but that's it. I got my intro. Hey, what's happening, everybody? I can do that whenever I'm ready, and I got some other things that I do, and I'll load it up when I do my live shows. Like when I do my 10 minutes in, and Tim, you haven't been around since I've done my 10 minutes in because I didn't have my voice, I don't believe, but I'll do 10 minutes nightly on Facebook. And it just depends on whatever topic I have going, but I have an intro specifically for my 10 minutes in episodes as well. And it's very convenient, but I wanted a sound deck like Joe's using there because the versatility is just off the chart.
I mean, I can change cameras. You can do a ton of things with the
yeah,
Elgato Stream
I
Deck.
want to get a Rodecaster, but I just don't want to swing at $600 right now.
No, so I was thinking about the same thing, and it was, to me, it wasn't worth it because I already had like an input interface. I already had a 2i2, so I'm like, I don't really feel the need. This was $250, but you can get the base one for $150. So like 150 or $600, and all I want to be able to do is just like hit buttons and like play some celebration music when we're happy, right? Like, yeah. So things like that.
So Joe, that's an actual box.
So-
Like that's a physical, like box that you're
yeah.
touching.
So let me see.
Do they have something that's virtually like on the computer?
Yeah.
So if I
actually,
wanted
you
something
just
like
get
that and I
voice
clicked on
mod.
something,
Yeah, so if you just go to voice mod, because the Stream Deck is using something called voicemod.net is where you want to go.
Elgato, the cat.
Yes, the cat. So if you go to voicemod.net, you can actually just get the software here. I'll actually show you this. I can show you the softwares here.
So I could like play the intro to my new imaging for my podcast live by using. Interesting.
Yeah, so the software is like 20. It's free. For I think you get like 3 sounds for free. But if you pay for it, and I think I paid like $20 for the license, you can add unlimited amount of sounds, and then you can set them to shortcut keys. So I have all my shortcut keys turned off, but you could totally just have them as like Control Shift 1, Control Shift 2, Control Shift 3. Or control, something to that effect, where it's like you're not going to be pressing those buttons otherwise.
I wonder how that would work with Dragon, though.
I don't know. But I mean, like,
don't know until you try it. I think you should.
Yeah. So it's free, so you can try it, and then you get every day they give you like so many voices for free.
So you can add your podcast music to that and play it while you're streaming live, and it'll just come right out.
Yeah, you don't need a Stream Deck at all. It integrates with Stream Deck. It's convenient.
What's that called again?
Voice Mod.
Interesting.
Voice MOD.
Can you type that or something? That way I can go back and.
You can put it in the comments.
So or maybe just send me an inbox later on, Joe, or something. Voice Mod.
I can do that. Voice Mod.
Okay, thanks.
Cool, man. That's awesome, dude. I love it.
Yeah, because I'd like to. You said it's free. I could at least try it and see.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Even though I'll still have to say wake up and mouse click, but at least I can have it like. Does it have like maybe a button that's set up that like a dashboard, and you could just click on that button instead of saying the short command?
Yeah. I mean, I guess technically, if you pulled it up, you could hit the preview button. Like, you guys hear this, right?
No.
Oh, you're not hearing that?
I hear something pinging. I don't know.
So how does it interface? I'm sorry. These are probably questions you can answer offline. I don't want you to turn this.
It's so weird. Brett got us off topic. I never saw that happen.
I think I happened.
By the way, I have a guest for you, Larry, if you're interested.
Always.
Way to get even more off topic.
Yeah. Who is it? Are they cool? Will I like them? Are they popular? Are they famous?
On certain circles, yes.
Are they willing to pay me?
Right?
No.
They'll pay me to get on Larry's show. I'm all for it.
Let's not get into that conversation.
We didn't even have to get into that conversation tonight. How cool is that? Like, my controversial.
Well, we talked about it when you came on my show last year, which is a year ago to the day, actually.
Wow, really?
When I was doing my first show. So we need to get you back on again after my thingy that's happening, and we'll get you on.
Yeah, I'd love to.
So, Joe, I was noticing it said for Windows. Does it work with Mac?
Voice Mod? I don't know. Yeah. I would. Maybe not.
It
says voice changer for PC. Yeah, it doesn't look like they do anything for Mac.
Yeah, so glad I didn't promote them.
Well, I'm sure there's other software out there. I mean,
I'll Google. I'm like, I love making fun of people who don't have a Mac, and I'm sure the PC people love making fun of me. So
relax, brother.
That's like talking smack about people that use Blue Yeti microphones.
Look, I am streaming on a PC.
Uses a Blue Yeti,
and there's my Mac right there. You probably can't even see there's the logo. So I use both. I use Windows and I use Mac. I use Mac on a laptop because nobody else makes it as good of a laptop. Period.
Looking at new machines today, I'm tempted to go Mac, but
this is the microphone. There you go, Brett.
Snowball. Joe Rogan uses one of those when he travels.
I use this. This was my only microphone for about 5 or 6 years until I went into the ATs.
Yeah,
I mean, if you know how to use them, they're great.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
How well is the sound on my headphones? I always wondered that.
It's not bad.
This is a Plantronic headset. It's Bluetooth. Well,
for that, yeah, it's not. It doesn't. I don't think it's bad. It's a little hollow, but I mean, I've heard way worse.
Way worse.
Like it's not as deep. Like it's not as deep as it probably could be. But since you're going over Bluetooth, I would expect. I mean, it's convenient, right? It's the one that it works.
Yeah, it works for me. But is there something that you guys would recommend that could be probably wired? That's a really good set of a headphone set with the microphone that you could think of.
For $100, I don't know. I don't have it here, but the HyperX Cloud 2s, that's a gaming headset with a gaming mic, but it sounds pretty darn good. It's wired, but I like them. That the sound sounds. It definitely would sound better than what you have. But again, it's a wired solution, so you got to have that wire plugged in and all that. But I mean, it's not like you're going anywhere.
No, I've been right in front of this laptop the whole time, so it's not like I'm dancing or demonstrating my chair or something. So,
so
that was pretty funny, dude.
But I could,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's pretty tongue in cheek.
Yeah. So this is the Stream Deck software, by the way. So you can actually have multiple Stream Decks set up as like I have I still have the profile from the old because I bought the base Stream Deck and then returned it for the XL because I wanted extra.
So you have the physical device, right? You have the physical device. Because I'm looking at those right now, and then you are on you're loading the software, this software on that device.
Yes. So basically, like, I'm just going to be like, oh, okay, I want to load an OBS scene, right?
Okay,
so
right.
I click there, and then I just pick the scene.
Okay.
Oh, I have to launch OBS to get the scene.
Right.
So you could just click on that literally with your setup, and your intro music will play.
Right.
Well, yeah, with this. So like, I could press. Like,
but you can't do it with voice mod, though.
No, I mean these are all running through voice mod. Everything except this countdown timer.
So click a button and sound like anonymous.
We're in Joe Rogan territory now.
Here we are. Yeah, we are 2 hours and 10 minutes.
We have your son.
Yeah.
Give me back my son.
So
Anybody know what movie that's from?
No.
Ransom with Mel Gibson. Give me back my son.
Okay.
I remember that now. That's obscure.
Welcome to my world.
So that's how that all works, and it's cheaper than a whole Roadcaster thing, and it's one less.
That's a big swing. $600. I mean, good Lord.
It is, but if you don't have if you don't have like a 2i2 input and you have say 4 people that you're going to hook up to
sure, of
mixer,
course,
when you start breaking it all down, and you're getting the buttons to add quick things plus onboard recording and like all those things, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, it's going to save you a lot as far as making it more simplistic of a setup. Taking a complicated thing and turning it into a simplistic setup where you get added buttons so you could add your music, add your stuff. It's not a bad deal for $600, but if you don't record with other people right there, to me it's a bit of a hard sell.
Well, I have my Rode Pod mic, and then I have my 2i2 that someone gave me as a gift, and then
never did that.
And then I have a virtual software voice meter where I EQ my mic. So,
I just want to throw out there, Jason Norris, Joe Pardo has helped me build confidence in myself and get practice sharing my story of donating my kidney and advocating for kidney patients. Today was the result of me working with the National Kidney Foundation and the state legislator to host a webinar to educate other legislators throughout the state.
Wow.
Jason is a
awesome.
champion. He really is. He has done a lot with legislators and stuff like that, especially here in the state of New Jersey, and especially on the level of getting money for kidney donors, because apparently you get nothing. They take the kidney and you get nothing. You get a year's worth of hard what's the word, like a heavy what's the word? Was it something ship?
A hardship?
Hardship. Yeah, you basically get a year
drinking
of
water the rest of your life.
Yeah, no, well, I mean that's one of the things too. So
Wow.
there's so many things. Yeah, it's a rough go.
So if I donate a kidney, I can't drink moonshine anymore, right?
Oh
Correct.
no, you'll get hammered after like one
No.
sip.
I can't
Yeah,
donate
apparently
my
not.
kidney. No.
Yeah, it's a hard thing. But if you are a match for somebody, you could save a life. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a huge responsibility. He was able to save his childhood friend's dad, or
Mm.
Okay.
stepdad. I think dad or stepdad. Yeah, he happened to be a match, and he went through a donation thing. But he had to come up with the money for it. And he didn't get time off from work, just because hey, you're doing it right. Okay, Jason says drinking doesn't affect your kidney unless you become extremely dehydrated. Be more worried about your liver. So I guess you can still drink. It's not
thanks.
because I think Jay. Yeah.
Well, that's good to know. He would know. He's the expert.
know.
I
Oh,
stand
yeah.
corrected. I'm sorry.
Well, when it comes to it, I mean, it's just Jason. When it comes to my moonshine, that is like the only thing that I don't drink a lot of it, but I sip on it like all freaking day long. Not a lot.
Yeah, tell that you do that, Sam.
I don't do that a lot anymore.
Wow.
I don't do that anymore, or any less.
So yeah.
But I'm
so,
bumped.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
There you go.
we get.
There you go. He's on his third ginger of the night. I
Well,
guess you're not working tonight,
mellowed
Jason.
out.
He's also he works at as a 911 call
Dispatcher.
I don't know. My brain dispatcher. My brain is not working at this point. Been up since 5. So yeah. So he's a great guy. And really happy to have him as a friend.
Cool,
So
man.
Awesome.
anyway, so future Super Joe Pardo show. I'm looking to do more with the live streaming, more business, get more back into business lessons. Possibly doing some interviews, but the problem with interviews is scheduling right now is tough. As Pete could tell you when he was on earlier, I had to reschedule with him 3 times already to do this interview for the Indie Pod podcast.
Thanks for coming on the Readily Random podcast yesterday. I appreciate it. But don't tell Pete.
Wait, what? No.
Honey, he shut me down. Let's start a rumor. No,
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, Pete.
No,
He'll get to you, Pete.
No,
He's a busy guy, man. Come on,
will.
give him some slack.
And it's only going to get busier. So I have some thoughts and some plans, and then with the Indie Pod community, I want to start doing some more videos. I basically just did there where I showed off software and how to use the software and things of that nature. So I want to do that, and then I could take that and put it behind the Indie Pod University after the live stream and all that. And so there's things like that I want to do. More virtual events, we're going to keep rolling. The next one's May 30th, which won't mean anything a year from now when people are listening to this, but at least right now, if you're watching, listening, May 30th will be the next one.
I like that you're doing them, and to me, that's a huge content creator for your university, and you're using you're using Larry, me, everybody else to create your content for you.
Yeah, it's great that it works out that way.
Free labor, man.
It is.
I'm not saying I'm going to do the same thing or anything like that. But now that Larry's
right
down for me, heck yeah, I like that.
But the goal there isn't just for that, right? So my thing is I'm not locking up the content. So Larry got his talk, and he's going to use it. And anybody that wants their talk can totally get their talk. I'm not trying to lock it up and be like, oh, I own the rights and you're, but
no, I'm not going to do that. But you can, but I'm getting permission to add it to my stuff.
Right. And that's the thing is I'm curating that content and putting it, in a place where people can easily get it and get it in one place. Right. Cause it's one of the things oh, I had to go back and find where was the schedule for that conference, and then I gotta find okay, Larry shared his, but Tim didn't, but Brett did, but Eric didn't. You know what I mean?
You can do something similar to what Tim's doing and have somebody go through after the fact and split the videos up by presenter.
Yeah, so a lot of, the previous conferences I have that. These I haven't had a chance to do it. It's literally on my. I could show you my reminders list. It literally says
That only
Up
works if you
Mapcon
do them.
1,
Oh,
3, 2, and V1, V2, V3. And Mapcon 1, because Mapcon 1 wasn't chopped up either. That's a 7.5 hour video.
Yeah, whatever
8-hour
yesterday's was that I downloaded from your last one. What is that? 7 hours, 6 hours, something like that. 6, 7 hours. It's long.
Yeah.
Jody
Oh, yeah.
Kringle in the house.
Jody, yes.
Jody, I love Jody. She's the
Jody.
best.
Yeah.
We didn't recognize her a minute ago, but Regina, she came in and she's even commented a couple of times, and we didn't get her up on the screen. And I feel really bad about that. So Regina, there really is an app for everything, and if the apps fall through, you got me, girl. So here you are. There's your name's in light.
Yeah. No, it's not Regina. It's not Jody.
Jody
So
Kringle.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm honing in some of the worded verbiage of my business as well, as far as the coaching and strategist business, and just pushing forward, you know. And enjoying I guess shout out to Business Geeks podcast. Enjoying that. That's so much fun every single week with Jennifer Crawford and Samantha Riley. Like we just have if anybody's gotten to watch it, it's hilarious and fun, and we talk about business and we geek out about different things. It's a lot of fun.
That's cool.
I'm having a lot of fun.
An episode or two.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying that. So I feel bad that I haven't gotten to do many of these, the Dreamers podcast / Super Joe Pardo show. But I definitely plan on putting out more content there. I've been thinking about ways that I could do it, because like recording at night every other night is actually getting kind of old and tiring. Because like starting my night at 8 o'clock at night after I've been up since 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning and done work, done the thing with the kids, running around the backyard. It's getting old to start at 8 o'clock. So
it's called dedication. And I mean, here we are, we're celebrating your 6th year. And if you don't continue with the same level of dedication that you demonstrated for the last 6 years, will you see another 6?
I will see another 6.
Right.
And the reason is because there's a lot more to help. There's people to help. There's more people to help rip the super right out of them and show them that they can be so much more. And there's so many more experiences that I want to, experience, like with more people I want to meet and all that. Can you batch some things, Joe? Record a few at once. I mean, in the past I've done that. Like I said, way back 2 hours ago was, talking about like, hey, when I got started, I was batching 20, 30 episodes in the some days, there was days where I recorded 6 interviews, and it wasn't just, they weren't just all digital either. I actually had to pick up 2 of those people and drop them back off to where, like Jared Diamond, like I went to the Philly stadium in Philly, dropped and picked them up, and then dropped them off in Philly, and then came back. And this is at not 11 o'clock at night. And then my last interview of the day was waiting in the living room, waiting for me there. So yeah, and I had somebody else I had to go pick up and then drop off. And then there was 2 other. It was like the longest day ever for interviews. I was burnt out by the end.
I don't want to talk to anybody that bad. I don't care. Elon Musk, I'll be like, Elon, we can do it tomorrow. All right, we can do it tomorrow.
He ain't got time tomorrow, man. He ain't got no time at all. No, I did. To me, I also needed the episodes, right? Because I was doing 5 days a week at the time, so I needed it was a constant grind of like, I got to get the episodes, I got to edit and all that.
It's a lot of work.
It is. And now I find like it's hard for me to schedule like a whole bunch of calls unless like that's where I'm putting my mind power, like trying to keep myself in like a straight line as far as like, okay, I'm doing this and I'm going to try to do all the tasks that are like that, so I'm not constantly like shifting gears like over and over and over again.
So Jay says, idea, Jody.
Yeah, so next thought is split your interviews into two, so at least you plan out a bit more. One episode ends up taking up 2 weeks, so that could be a thing. I just like doing the one interview. Here's so in the first 7 episodes of the show, I did 2 interviews because the show was only supposed to be a half hour long. So I did 2 interviews, ended up being longer than a half hour long. And I split them up into 2, and I hated it. And the reason I hated it because then I had to record. I felt like I needed to record an intro for the next episode separately, and like to reintroduce it, and then a second outro for the first part. Like part 1 needed an outro I needed to create, and then part 2 needed an intro I needed to create. So I was like, I'm creating so much more work, and at the end of the day, like if you don't want to listen to more than 30 minutes, like that's okay. Just it sucked. I didn't like it. So I will definitely keep, because I love doing this live stream. I love the fact that we're able to put the comments in and keep it. It's almost like too boring to just do interviews at this point without comments, because I need something to fill the bandwidth with. But I also want to do a lot more solo shows, like more lessons. I have a spreadsheet with like hundreds of lessons, like topics that I want to talk about. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. So Joey said, okay, so you create a bit of an intro and an outro, but you have the meat of the podcast already figured out. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I will have to I don't want it to be the identical intro for part 1 in part 2. So then I have to explain it. Just too much work. Just like I want to go in, do
this
the
is
thing.
why I do everything live
out.
streaming, and I don't have an show intro. I used to when I was in the radio station. I still don't.
I just re-imaged mine to mirror my radio days back in the day. So I like that style for me. It fits my
personality. Larry to record it for me to match the guy's voice who did mine.
You know what? With this, and speaking of that, I gotta audition for a voiceover. I gotta have by tomorrow, so I'll be back in the booth tomorrow. Jody, what's up? I'm going pro, baby, going pro.
Yeah, you are.
That's golden handcuffs. Golden handcuffs.
Yeah, right. Anyway.
So yeah, so that's the thing. So like even with like I was saying with the indie pod community, like I wanna do these like I wanna try to transition things into the morning. So like doing like live streams by like 7 a.m. And then transition. But for me, that like I said, I'm up by 5 or 6 a.m. anyway. So like I'd rather do it when I'm fresh than starting everything at 8 o'clock at night. And yeah, so I'm this is things I've been thinking about over the last couple of weeks. And where I'm going to try to head as far as content creation.
You don't have yourself set on a regular weekly schedule though, do you, Joe?
As far as what?
For everything you do in your podcasts. Like I have everything down to a schedule, and recording podcasts just goes in between it.
So the Indie Pod podcast is Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's on Facebook, pretty much Facebook, and then the Business Geeks is on Mondays at 8 p.m. Which is fine. Those are, I'm okay with 2 of them, but like if I'm going to do the Super Joe Pardo show, doing a third night in the week at 8 p.m. it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. Like
it's a lot of work, dude. That just you describing that makes me tired.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's tough. So for me, like I want to try to mix it up, and then by doing the live streams into the Facebook group for Indie Pod community, right? So the idea is like now I'm creating a post in the community every single, like in theory, like every day or every other day, doing it at 7 a.m. so people are going to be able to see it, and then I can like take it, like close it out by like the end of the day, and then move that content right over into the university. So not only did I create a post for that day, right, with the topic of the day, I'm taking that topic and I'm putting it into the university. So
copy.
Right. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to look at, where it's like get the most out of the time that I'm putting into it.
Everything I do is I build a system so that the system works. It's like how I did those that, I only ended up doing like 82, but 82 recording interviews in 30 days is a freaking lot. But I set up a system to make it all work. So literally it went on autopilot, except for me getting on the thing to do the interview was not autopilot. That was about the most time I had to pay attention. I got a schedule down. So it's my schedule's blocked out. If someone went on my calendar to find the spot to record it, that was between them. They found the spot. I didn't have to go back and forth. I cut that out of my time. You know what I mean? I put a lot of things on autopilot.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough because with the two little kids
I'll
being
try
home
this.
every day, it's like my schedule is constantly evolving as we've gotten deeper into this thing. So like I haven't taken the time to like build out a calendar where I'm be like, hey Tim, here's my Calendly link. Like the only Calendly link I have right now is for Indie Podcast, and it's every Wednesday at 8:00 at night. So like, as long as you're available at 8:00 at night on Eastern time on a Wednesday, you can be on the show. It's great. It'll be awesome.
I almost made it once as a flyer because his guest he didn't think was going to show up. So
Jody, how come you weren't on? By the way,
Jody,
you just put, wow, that's a lot. I'm like, yeah, Jody, I know it was. How come you didn't join in one? So no, I'm going to do another series here. I'm going to do another one real soon. So.
Jody, you need to jump in on that, man. You'd have a great time, and I know you have a lot to contribute. I think you'd be an excellent addition to any lineup.
Two guys ahead of with is right here. It's Joe and Larry, both of them. I had such a freaking blast recording. Joe's, I didn't want it to end. We went an hour and a half.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. So I know it's a lot. And that's one of the reasons. Look, it is a lot, and that's why the Super Joe Pardo show has been kind of on a hiatus, right? Like it's not. It's because part of the other reason it was on hiatus was because around Christmas time I was like really hell-bent on this idea that I was going to do like produced YouTube videos, and I did 3 of them. I'd wake up at like 4 a.m., get to the park and like wait for the sun to kind of come up and then record these episodes, and then I would edit them. And I'd have my 10-minute podcast episode, and it was awesome. But the thing with that, what happened with that was it was it was hard. It was getting harder and harder to be able to wake up and get out the door on like, okay, it's got to be on Saturday. Oh, it's raining. Okay, well, I got to do it on Sunday. Well, now I'm like recording at like 8:00 because it was crappy out. So it's like, okay, well, I can't be away from the family too long. I'm only home 2 days a week as it is, like. So it was just dipping too much into that because it wasn't warm. It wasn't late enough in the year. Like now it's bright. You know what I mean? Like it's bright at like 6:00, 5:30, 6:00. So like I could go out and record versus before I had to wait till it got to like almost 8:00 before it would get bright outside.
Wow.
So, yeah. So it was like it was holding me back in the sense of like, okay, well this would be great if I could get out to the park and like record these things in the hours between the hours I got to do things. But that just, and then the editing of the video, it just doesn't, I mean, once in a while, there's things I probably like episodes I'd like to do like that, but it can't be every episode. It just isn't, it's just not feasible for me right now. So live streaming it is, right? And doing it as much as I possibly can because I do feel kind of bad. Like I haven't hit 400 episodes yet. I'm only at 3. This is episode 396.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been kind of stagnant over the last like year and a half, like where I've done a couple of episodes and then a period of break and then a couple more episodes and a period of break, and this year has been the same. So
that's a testimony too to the podcast community, and I've definitely been on a community kick over the past couple of weeks. But it's so true because you haven't podcasted regularly in a year and a half. I haven't podcast regularly since, probably September, October, just dealing with my voice and all that fun stuff. So, but at the same time, I still see myself being more involved in the community. At the same time, I still see you being very deep in the community. I mean, you're a pillar of the community for the podcasting industry, Super Joe Pardo. And even though you haven't released an episode consistently, you're still, people look to you for podcast guidance, and they look to you for your knowledge and what you share and your giving attitude, right? But that again is just a testimony to both you and to the podcasting community, because you can still be a part of it, because people know if you're passionate about it and you're doing it for the right reasons, which Super Joe definitely is. Mr. Inspire definitely is. Tim Gillette, he's trying to ride the wave. It's okay. We'll let him come along.
He's all about that vlog and video.
Like, show me the money, baby. Got to buy this bourbon. But no, he's cool, man. But, honestly, that's my point. Brett Allen, he's doing the same thing. He's trying to get in on it. Brett Allen is landing some crazy guests.
Yeah.
And I'm super jelly. I mean, he's got some really cool people on there.
Oh, wait till you hear I'm interviewing tomorrow. You'll flip your wig.
What, are you going to tell me, or are you going to make me wait?
Tell us or make us
You-
wait. Come on,
You're gonna have to wait. All I can,
You
all,
can't
all I
give
can,
us that crappy teaser. You got to tell us.
all I can tell you is, well, here's the thing. Like, if I say something, then if he decides that he can't show up,
Right.
or something goes haywire, then it's like, well, why did you tell everybody? That's a lesson I learned
Brett,
a long
put it in
time
the private
ago.
Chat. Brett, type it in the private chat so we can see it in here.
All right, I'm
We
typing
won't-
it.
we
Well,
won't.
no, because then it's just like saying
Brett,
it.
No, it's not.
No, we won't say it. We won't say it.
But here,
It's all
around that thing what you're saying there, Larry, with the community
Yeah.
is when I had my radio show and I was on a station. So like I have a slot I have to fill every week. When I had the community, when you build up the community like Joe is, I just would call friends up and go, you know what? Why don't you co-host my show this week? I had friends who were overjoyed on that. What? You're putting me, I mean, we had the listenership of 1 million people.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I'd be called up and just go, hey, yeah, why don't you just host it? And friends were like blown away that I let them do that. I just would let them go. And I actually, because I didn't want to do it or I was busy, I would sit here and listen to them do my show rather than go out there and, you know what I mean? And it was a great thing because that made people, you know what I mean? It made people feel like, oh my gosh, there's a place that you can still create content, and you're opening up opportunities for people to walk into your community.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and even though I'm not podcasting on my own show, I actually had to Google that person. I didn't know.
Oh, I know who that is.
I mean, it sounds familiar, but I didn't know.
I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
Oh, okay.
Don't give it away now. We're not
It's over. Everybody knows now.
Now, I have a couple others in the can too that I've already recorded, and another huge comic that I'm working on. But you guys, I agree with Larry, the community thing.
Mhm.
That's really what I feel like I missed out on the last round when I was doing my show. And I'm just, happy to be here with you guys and be a part of this. And it's just super awesome because you can't do it without support. It's like comics and their peers, musicians and their peers. It's important to have, because it can be stressful if you don't have people to help you out.
Yeah. No, it absolutely is, and I'm happy to have all of you here, and the people watching, and staying in at like 11:15 at night. How awesome! How cool is that, right?
One thing to remember, Joe, too, is that you're the brand. You're the brand of Super Joe Pardo. No matter what podcast you're doing, you're always still carrying the Super Joe Pardo show. You're just doing different content.
Yeah. No, and that's something that I learned. I figured out. I think about a year and a half in or so, where I registered superjoepardo.com, and then I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. And then I think it was in 2017. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna switch everything over, because if I get hit by the bus, then the Dreamers podcast is done. It's all over. It doesn't matter. So I was like, all right, I gotta own it, even more so than I was, and by, you take the baby steps. I mean, look, I was sad when I got ended the Dreamers podcast for Business with Super Joe Pardo. I didn't really like it. I felt like it was putting me in a box that I didn't really like. I felt like I had to put on a button down shirt every time I got on the camera and recorded an episode, and it just I didn't like it. So that's why after 2 years of that, I brought it back to Dreamers podcast and did did some episodes, but even then I was like, I feel like wasn't really happy with it either. But now it's me. This is what it is. So
And it flows. Super Joe Pardo.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, my name rhymes, Joe and Pardo. It helps that it rhymes.
Are you still doing your TV show?
I am. The plan is to do the TV show. I mean, at this point, probably sometime next year to start filming again. I was planning on filming this upcoming like March. I actually had 2 episodes. Matthew Passy and Stacey Greenberg. We're going to be 2 episodes. Episode 2 and 3 of the show. Unfortunately, COVID took over and we canceled.
That damn COVID.
Darn Rona.
Ruining everything, man. Ruining everything.
Yeah, Rona, everything.
Well, we're starting to open up back
everything.
over here. Lots of stuff is.
Where are you located?
Bay Area.
Okay.
I went and got my tattoo tonight. They're wide open. Like they're.
I bet they are.
But I mean, you have to wear masks, you know. But they're screaming for business.
What did you get a tattoo of? And I guess it must have been relatively inexpensive.
I survived.
What does that say?
It's a Greek word for favor or grace.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh, cool.
That just reminds me of the Big Bang Theory. So, Penny, why do you have the tattoo of soup on your neck?
I know. No, I've been wanting to get it for a while. I paid for it before the Rona took over, and he opened back up today. So he messaged me. That's when I was watching you guys while I was getting my tattoo done. So,
okay.
wow.
All right. Cool. Well, congrats.
Cool.
And we're
still shut down here. I'm in Flint, Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
Michigan?
I was wondering about
Good.
Michigan, what they were going to do up there.
Wow, you're in Flint. That's amazing.
It's you know, I'm still living through the water crisis. So
right.
it's 2 crises on top. And then being able to being paralyzed from the neck down and having caregivers in and out of your house, it was just like, you know, but Michigan people, I don't know, they're going against it now. Like they're opening businesses. They know that they're not going to enforce it the way they've enforced it on a couple barbers, but there's more and more people that are just like, whatever, we're just going to do what we're going to do now. So
Yeah, she destroyed that one old man that had been cutting hair for 80 years or something, and he opened up regardless of the executive order, and the judge threw out her complaint, and then so she said, "Fine, we'll yank his license." So she totally shut that dude down.
yeah, they're pulling alcohol licenses for people opening up too early.
No, that's out in Cali, right?
Everywhere, yeah. Like some places are open, but we're in the middle of phase 2 right now of reopening. They've left it up to local health directors to decide how fast they're going to move along. So restaurants will be opened up, I'd say, by the end of this month, next. Six Flags, they're aiming for the end of June, July. Reservations only. So I'm thinking by the end of the summer, you know, most things will be open except concerts and stuff. So
yeah, I'm here.
In our area, Larry, aren't they saying like restaurants can go to like 50% starting this weekend or something?
25 to 30 here.
Well, we're
That's
50
that's
here.
so
We'll be at
tough because
50% this weekend. Yeah.
Traverse
that's
City,
tough.
Traverse City this Friday can go at 50% in the Upper Peninsula.
Mhm.
She announced that a couple of days ago.
How about you, Joe? What are they hitting you with out there?
Well, I don't know. I haven't really followed the news.
Your
honestly.
boardwalk was packed this past weekend.
I know. I know. I know people that were there, and I'm like, you guys, you won't know for 2 weeks if this is a good idea or not. I tend to think that it wasn't, but you know, what do I know? Look, we had a local barber die from COVID because I don't know if he was cutting hair during or after or whatever his deal was. We also have a local bar here that not once but twice opened up and let patrons drink on property, which was a big no-no. So they're like threatening. They're threatened with losing their liquor license, which is
it's
good.
rough. Well, the courts are back
somebody
open
opened
here.
up a thing. Somebody opened up a GoFundMe, and last I checked, it was like $7,500 they had raised because like people were like not happy. But there's also people that are like, you guys, like they broke the rules like twice, not once but twice.
Yeah, you're
That's
gonna have both sides of that coin, you know, and it's hard to
A rough one.
see the other side. If you're on one side of that coin, you can't see the other side. You're not even open to seeing the other side, and vice versa. You know, it goes both ways. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I mean, with my
yeah,
son,
here-
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, here
So-
I'm on the board of our HOA for the condo.
yeah.
And we got a letter from our management company. I think this was Thursday or Friday last week, and they said, "We heard that you guys still have your pool open." We're like, "Yeah." They're like, "You can't have that. You need to close that off." And we're like, "What?" So then we looked at the rules. It's like we had to have somebody come out and put locks on it and everything.
Yeah.
And then now like I'm walking by there and the tenants are going, well, yelling at me because I'm on the board. What did you guys do? I'm like, if it was up to me, it'd be open, dude. I have no say in this matter. I have to agree with the law because it's not just the comp. I mean, everybody gets sued who's a homeowner, but me especially. I'm on a board.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it.
Where you at, Tim?
Dallas. I'm not that far from Larry.
Yeah, we're just down the street from each other.
Well,
I'm
that's
heading over
cool. You
there
guys
after
are,
this, as a matter
are
of
close.
fact, so. No, not really, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Larry's going to come over to the pool. Once the pool's open, Larry's coming over to my pool.
yeah, that's a good look. That's a good look.
you getting in
Is
there
that a
with the,
bathing suit? Nope.
Oh, it's a sweatshirt.
That was a Speedo.
It's my chest hair.
Ooh, no, sir. No, sir. Guys, I love all y'all, and this has been a blast. I've been on the mic now for 4.5 hours. I've been podcasting
Yes.
since 6. So
I need
Yeah.
to go to bed.
I gotta take a shower.
I need it bounced. It's
You
been
go to
fun
bed.
hanging out with you, gentlemen. Eric, all of you guys.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
it's been
guys.
great.
Talk to you, man. Eric, nice to talk
This
to you.
is so much
Pardo.
fun.
You too. Yeah,
Thank
I'll
you,
look
thank
up
you.
everybody on Facebook.
Yeah, connect with me, man. I'd love to have you on the show, as a matter of fact. So come on my show, and I'd love to hear your story
Absolutely
more.
should.
Yeah, to me, if you're part of
Absolutely.
Joe's community, you can be on my show. Just
Yeah.
He's
Awesome.
so good. He is
Love it.
great.
Okay, sweet.
You'll be changed
All right.
after having him
My
on the show.
Facebook page is Eric Patrick Thomas.
I got you, bro.
And I'll send you those pitches, Eric, or what's your name, Larry?
Those pictures,
yeah,
I don't
the other guy.
I want those pictures.
Pitches, not
Oh,
pictures.
pictures,
He
okay.
wants the pictures of the swimsuit, Larry.
Man, that was scary. Joe, congratulations on 6 years, man. You are a stud. You're a pillar of the community, and I say that with all seriousness.
Finger guns.
And I'm so glad that I had the
Thank
opportunity to get
you.
to know you and even become your friend. And it's something that I wouldn't trade for the world. So thank you, sir. And
Right
keep
back at you.
on podding on, brother.
Thank you. Thank you
Yes.
all so much for
All right,
taking
man.
the time. Thank you, everyone,
Congratulations.
for watching. See you, Larry. Thank you for co-hosting.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Garrett. Thank you, Eric. Thank you for jumping on. Thank you, Tim. For
What's that?
jumping
The
on.
future
Thank you,
looks
Brad.
bright. Is that what it is? The future
It
looks
is.
bright.
Right.
The future
Right.
does look bright. It's
Is
right.
that coin? Does somebody have that?
I
Or-
think so.
It was a song of the 80s. Future's so bright, I got to wear shades.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Couple
Future's so
unemployed
bright.
minor league
Gotta
pitchers.
wear
You guys look good.
Yeah. All right.
Sorry to
Really,
fuck up.
when you have to
All
wear
right,
two pairs of
I'm-
shades, it's really bright.
I feel like
Eastbound and down.
Eastbound and down.
Loaded
Yeah.
up and trucking. Yep.
Wait,
Nanny
is this
McBride.
Like this, like,
I have been called Kenny Powers on more than one occasion.
That's why I made that comment when I was at the shop because I was like, "You look like Kenny Powers."
Oh my God, I didn't even see it. That's hilarious. That's
Hey
too-
John.
I gotta go. Bye.
Yeah.
all right,
All right.
guys.
Joe, congrats.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it.
All right, man.
All right. Take care. Talk to you. We got to talk soon, by the way. We got to talk soon.
Oh yeah, hold on.
I'm holding
You know
on.
what?
The
You know,
podcast will hold on.
no, just text me and we'll get us
You
on the
fix my
schedule.
left foot.
All right.
All right.
All right, Tim.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Good
Thank
meeting
you
you,
so
Tim.
much, Eric.
Yeah, it was great. This is what I
Great.
like.
It
I like
was
this
wonderful.
this freestyle. This is how I like podcasting, man.
Yeah, this is what I was hoping for by opening up the floodgates here. So we talked a lot about a lot of things, the past, and showed some past pictures, and it's been fun. And Eric, hopefully when this is all done, we'll have an opportunity to finally meet in person, man. It'd be
Yeah,
great.
no, yeah, I got the new van, so
Bam.
just gotta make sure, everything is safe, or because we don't know what's what right now. There's so much
Yeah.
information out there, so
Yeah.
I just know
it's
before
different.
even this, anything that's respiratory, okay, hold on, I gotta stick. It's nothing respiratory. I mean, with my cough, even just, that like that's my cough. Like it's not traveling very far. It's like
Yeah.
so I that was my biggest like thing about you know like you catch things but it's that because that's like with man it's rapid with the respiratory. It's not. I've been there, man. I've been there where you have fluid for 7 weeks and you're drowning and staying calm at the same time. That's the that's the experience of that with your lungs collapsing and double pneumonia and not being able to physically cough it out and having to have someone physically like it's like the Heimlich, 1, 2, 3, cough, 1, 2, 3, cough, 1, 2. It's like
Yeah, I lived through it with my grandmother having was it congestive heart failure and all the fluid that building up in the lungs and all that.
yeah,
It's not. I mean, we were there for the last day, sitting by her side, last minutes, sitting by her side, where she
yeah.
couldn't really breathe. But yeah, so that super depressing. We're gonna end on something positive here. Here's to six at least 6 more years of podcasting.
6 more years and getting together in person.
Yes, and getting together.
The future
in person,
is bright. You got to wear
it
shades because the
absolutely
future is bright, man.
It is.
We're all gonna
It
get through
is.
this storm. We're all gonna be back doing great and better things. We're gonna be better than what we were before, man.
We
We got to.
absolutely,
We're gonna be great.
absolutely will. We'll
What
make
we
sure.
were before, when we get through all this, we're gonna be even better.
Yep.
And that's gonna be
agree
beautiful.
more.
Because imagine a better us already.
Yep.
That's gonna be amazing. Like I can't wait to be better than a better person, a better at my time, better at how I spend my time, and what's important. He said the future is bright.
That's my boy
I
Dre.
like that.
I need shades.
Yes.
Yes, you do, man. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up here, Eric. Thank you again so much for coming on tonight. I hope you have a great night, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right. Congrats,
Thank you.
Super
very
Joe
much.
Pardo. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, that was this might end up being one of the longest. It was definitely the longest contiguous episode of the Dreamers Podcast, the Super Joe Pardo show that's ever happened. It's fitting it would happen on the 6th anniversary of the show. 6 whole years doing podcasting as a whole. It's been an incredible ride. And I really mean it when I say like the people and the experiences have been the absolute best. It's been an incredible. It's just incredible all the time. And apparently I inspired Dre, and he likes me. Thank you. It's been a few years. I'm glad that you like me enough to keep me around, but. Anyway, it's been awesome. This episode has been brought to you by the Indie Pod University. If you want to learn more about podcasting, go to indiepoduniversity.com. And you can watch some free videos. There's over 100 plus hours of podcasting educational videos there. And more to come soon, as I had stated probably about 40 minutes ago in this episode. I plan on doing some original content for that. Okay, my brain is mush at this point because I've been up quite a while, so I'm gonna head to bed. I hope to. I can't promise I'll be back by next week, but I have some plans. If I can execute on those plans, if I can get the rest of this garage set up. In the meantime, I feel pretty confident that I should be able to start cranking out some content here, especially since I'm not going to be editing them. They're going to be live streamed. We're going to have a great time. And they're going to be business-based, business-based episodes. I have some interviews coming up too, that I'm going to be recording in the next couple days here. So look for those, look for business lessons, and look for more craziness, more Super Joe Pardo. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great week ahead.